Hello and good afternoon, good evening, and in some places in the world, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last live podcast of this particular week. As you know, and many people around the world will be celebrating Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa, and the holiday season is upon us. And for the first time in 2022, Mrs. Boomstick and I are taking a solid 5 days off. We're taking Thursday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and Monday, and coming back to the live stream table on Tuesday. We're doing 3 shows next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Thursday, folks, is going to be something very, very special because what we're doing at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you know what, Hargeet, you are invited. I didn't get a chance to send the email. We're doing our yearly wrap-up, our 2022 end year in review. What was our favorite games? Not so much our game of the year, but our favorite games. What were our disappointments? We're going to get into it. It's going to be a solid 2-hour show. Now, that's normally, folks, X-Vlog Live where it's one-on-one, but because it's the last show of the year for Double Barrel Gaming as we close out 2022, I wanted to bring in as many guests as we can to try and get there and give us, their opinion on what 2022 was for them, and close out of what they're expecting from 2023. But for today's show, folks, we have a great show. We have some new information that came out the way of an I don't want to say it was a report. It was more like an opinion. From one of the Seeking Alpha, they put an opinion piece out there regarding Microsoft's next acquisition being Netflix. I don't think that is going to happen, but that is just a small piece, folks, of today's show, because what we're going to talk about specifically is what you see on your screen. It turns out, folks, that the little man that could, known as High on Life, not only got destroyed by the review press, but it was, as Kay Asante said early on, Kay Asante, the people's champ, as you call it.
Indeed.
We're gonna talk about it, folks. I think, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, that the reviewing community got it wrong, because this is one heck of a game, and I can't stop playing it. I've taken down 5 of the bounties. I've gotten the jetpack. I've even gotten the upgrade for the jetpack. I'm flying here, there, and everywhere. Kay Asante, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Oh, thank you, man. It's good to be here. It's gonna be a fun show. Yeah, man. I've been enjoying High on Life myself. I was literally playing it like right before we
me too.
Right before we got on the air.
Me too.
Gerald Matt caught me. What's going on, Gerald? I hope you're doing well. No, yeah, it's gonna be a good conversation. I am loving this game. I think this game is ripe for that word of mouth thing, and we'll get all into it. But yeah, it's gonna be a good night. Welcome everybody. I see Hargeet's in here. All the great voices and great minds are in here. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into it as well. And one of the topics, Crispy, that we're going to talk about is the newly announced Amazon Studios publishing the next Tomb Raider. Folks, I'm slightly confused. Now, I understand that game is owned by, of course, what
Embracer.
Embracer Group. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Embracer Group bought the 2 studios that have made Tomb Raiders. They bought all the IPs. It broke my heart. I talk about that all the time. It's one of the things that I wish Microsoft would have not been locked into this ABK deal, because I think they would have been great studios to add. But what's interesting, Crispy, and like I said, we're going to get into this as well. I think it's a missed opportunity for Xbox, and I say that because they don't have their own Nathan Drake. Phil Spencer himself have talked about that many times throughout the years, which is why they made that exclusive 1-year exclusive deal with the second Tomb Raider game in the trilogy, and of course Xbox got thrown under the bus by the gaming media because of it. I really thought that because Phil has such a great relationship with Lars, who's the owner of Embracer, that they could have worked out a deal to publish the next game, but more so publish it and make it an exclusive. I'm sorry, folks. I think exclusives are some people will consider them underrated or overrated. I'm somewhere in the middle, but I think that considering that they don't own the IP, it would have been pretty good for the brand to lock up that exclusive. And like I said, it is, you know, it's going to be a multi-plat, and that's fine. But studios publishing, that's really odd. I think I think Microsoft, in my opinion, folks, and again, this is just me, I think they missed the mark on that one. I don't know the schematics of the deal, but eventually we'll find out. Crispy, how the heck are you, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I mean, you're getting into a lot of things that I think about at times when we talk about these things. So, I mean, I'm excited to get into this because I think it could fold into something else, which is always fun. I mean, really, if you think about it, you know, people's opinions, they matter. And, you know, you might not like something like somebody else does,
Right.
but should you hate that person for it? That is the question you need to ask yourself. But let's get into it, man.
Yeah, we definitely got to get into it. The Mag, what's going on, brother? Welcome back. You put out a pretty spicy meatball tweet the other day that you expected the arrows to be thrown your way when you said that you're enjoying Gungrave Gore better than High on Life. And of course, everyone came for you. How you feeling? Are your wounds healed, sir?
You know what? I got to say, first of all, it's great to be here, guys, with this wonderful cast and crew. And of course, the chat who's already on fire right now. Here's the thing. I was playing Gungrave 2. I'm like, all right, this is like a nice little 360 throwback, right? That kind of thing.
It really is.
And,
I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, it's the kind of thing.
Actually, a remake of the 360 game. So,
there you go. See, here's the thing. To me, that's a kind of game where like you just kind of like have you have a podcast on in the background, you don't have the sound on, and you're just kind of farting around, just shooting things, and that's it, right? And then I started playing High on Life, and I'm like, all right, it's good. And I was giving it a 7. It's slowly climbing the charts as I get more into it, right? But I'm saying that at the beginning, I was just like, all right, the humor's great, everything's great. I'm like, but what's really going on here? Right? So I was just like, okay, you're just going from one thing to another. I'm like, all right, it's not really grabbing.
He froze.
See?
Talking about High on Life got you, bro.
There will be no slander. There'll be no slander.
My PC is going bananas right now. So you know what I'm going to do after the intro? I'm just going to back out and I'll back in. I'm going to reboot my whole system.
Yeah, take care of that. Shout out to Neo Mental, my brother. If you don't know, yes, he is my brother, and he is just recovering from COVID, and he got body slammed. He got body checked. He was down for the count. I don't even know if the poor guy even played games, but he's here in the chat for our amusement. Welcome, Neo Mental. How you feeling, brother? Hopefully you're feeling better. But yeah, Mag, we'll get you back in a second, and we will.
No rush. I'll be back in a minute.
The newest member to this podcast, Hargi Chani. What's up, dude? We got some big opinions coming out because guess what? You were in the calm your jets, everyone. Thought process with the CMA and the EU Commission, and guess what, folks? Well, those public responses that the CMA was looking for came back. Now, you'll tell the story when we get to it because I didn't notice. I thought it was only 2,100. Turns out there was much more, but there was a lot of obscene and really psychotic level things that they had to move out of the conversation. But how are you, man? Welcome back.
Yeah, good. I've been playing a lot of Danganronpa, trying to finish that trilogy. It's a long, those are long games, 50 to 100 hours each.
That was big.
So I'm on the third one, finishing it up. Otherwise, there's been a little bits of news here and there. It's kind of slowing down a bit by the end of the year here, but the ABK deal just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
It does, but you know something? The more that we continue to see, because obviously we're all sitting here, Hargeet, and we're just waiting for mid-January for the CMA and the EU Commission to reveal their findings. As we get closer to that, which is probably around, give or take just under 4 weeks away, right? Give or take, maybe 3.5 weeks. We're starting to see things now. Again, this is a subjective opinion, folks. We are going to get into it momentarily, but I feel, and again, please understand this is subjective, that if the CMA and the EU Commission were down on this deal, there are several things that have happened in the last week that make me wonder if they are going to use logic and evidence and actual information that has been provided by other members of the gaming catalysts known as the worldwide gaming, meaning like they got information from Take Two, and they said that was fine. They got information from this one and that one, they said, yeah, it's no problem. But what's interesting is last week on Monday, they put out one of the responses, which we originally all thought that it was from Epic Games. Now, Epic Games, they got some problems because they just got hit with, I think it was $500 million plus fine from the FTC for, doing some things that, maybe isn't so good. So I don't think they have an opinion, or they're going to give theirs, like the head of Epic Games said. He said he hasn't talked about it publicly or privately, but the letter that they put out there was one not only approving this deal, but saying that it was going to be good for the industry at large. Now, we don't know who that was. A lot of people are starting to speculate that it was 2K. And then, of course, today we got information from the CMA where they got these responses back, and these responses, according to them, were mostly positive. And one of the key features that most people said that they were to approve this deal is that PlayStation would retain Call of Duty. That was one of the big things that people applauded this deal for. So, obviously we saw what happened with Lena Khan. They went out there on Article 12 of their legal document where they said that that Microsoft misled EU regulators, and the EU regulators came out and said, whoa, cool your jets there, missus. That's not in fact what happened. They didn't give us any concessions. We didn't ask for it. So now these are two entities putting out positive things. Now, of course, it's me trying to will this deal into existence, but there was also a report, folks, out there from many of the big businesses that watch the numbers and the stocks here in the country that believe that ultimately this deal will in fact go through. But before we get into all of that, folks, I gotta say this. I said it on the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm going to say it again live on the air. One of the things that I have found very disappointing about gaming media in this era of gaming is that, and it's not because they're young. Okay, let's understand we were all young at some point, and we didn't know it all. And and at 52, I still don't know it all, folks. What I can say, though, with full authority in my heart, is that there is a subset of the gaming media that are fans and I would consider diehard fans of PlayStation. And one of the things that they do with their reviews is they sometimes seem to be skewed when it comes to Xbox, and very overly positive when it comes to PlayStation. Now, why do I say that? Why am I opening up today's show with that? Well, I'm opening up that show because High on Life is in my opinion, one of the best games that released this year as an exclusive for Xbox on Xbox Game Pass in a year that Microsoft took a complete dump on first party. That's why this game is huge. Everyone that I have talked to is loving this game or finding something about it, whether it be you're a fan of Rick and Morty or just a fan of this kind of humor. This is one of the reviews, folks, that I honestly believe that the gaming media got wrong. And shout out to Xbox Era, was one of the first media places to give it a 9 out of 10. I actually talked to Jesse Norris in DM, and he's like, hey, boom, FYI, we were one of the first ones to give this a 9 before the zeitgeist of this game. And I believe they got it right. I want to go to Kayasante. Kayasante, you've had a chance to play this. You can't seem to stop playing it. You got the achievement for spending 15 hours in the alien strip club. Congratulations on that achievement. I mean, that's really something to say.
Does your wife know?
they're away for vacation until the new year.
He's in Vegas.
It's me and my gaming, my friends. It's me and my gaming. What I'm saying. No, but honestly, this game is very, very interesting. It is a very interesting game. And Boom, everything you're saying about it, I really agree with you. It's a very unusual game that unfolds in a special kind of way. So myself and Everborn were having conversations about it, and early on he didn't like it either. He also was like, oh, the gameplay, the moment to moment is kind of mediocre. It's so, right? Either you like the comedy or you don't like the comedy, and that's obviously subjective. And if you're a Rick and Morty person, then chances are you are a High on Life person, 100%, right? If you've ever played the game Trover Saves the Universe, same studio made this, right? The same level of humor. You will love this one. And actually, it's not even the same level of humor. It's even worse than any of their other work. All the other work like went to the line. This one saw the line way back there and just kept walking, and it's just hilarious. Needless to say, the way that it seems to me that the way the media has reviewed this was kind of on a very weird curve that I just don't understand. And I don't know, maybe some of the panelists, you guys can help enlighten me. I've been trying to not take a cynical view of this whole situation, but it's kind of difficult because this is literally part and parcel, like, for the media. Like, by and large, let's take IGN for instance, right? Just as a side, I'm a fan of IGN. I still frequent their sites from time to time, depending, because I want to hear all kinds of views, from all walks and all places. And since they're one of the big dogs in the room, you want to hear what they have to say, whether you agree with it or you don't, right? So you take IGN. What is the median age of an average reviewer on IGN? It is very well in the Rick and Morty like Venn diagram. Like, it's not old fogies over there reviewing games in my day, right? And by and large, Rick and Morty enjoys a big fandom on IGN. I've seen a lot of the other stuff they do, and they team with Justin Roiland on many other things. So all that said, it surprises me that not that many reviewers actually reviewed this game. I was looking before in the beginning of the show. I was looking, and even now, after all the big, huge news about it, total of 30 critical reviews, and it sits at a 65 on Metacritic. Which,
that's crazy.
Take it for what you will, Metacritic, OpenCritic, whatever. Take it for what you will. But you would think that the public outcry and all the wow, this game is better than it has no reason to be, and it's not even just like that good on Xbox. It's that good even on Steam. Only being bested by the greatest handheld device on earth. But that's a whole other conversation, right? It is second only to the Steam Deck on their charts right now. So, but that tells you something. Even those who aren't part of that subscription service, right? Even those who are just going out there and buying it, right? They're also recognizing the value of this game. By and large, every review that I've read that's an earnest review, you either like the comedy or you don't. I haven't heard anybody review it specifically about, the if you beat the game, that is, the moment to moment's terrible or it's mediocre. It starts off slow. I agree with that, and that's why when Mag said he wasn't a fan, I kind of was ribbing him on Twitter, but I completely see where he's coming from. They start with not with their worst foot, but the more you play, the more it opens up. And because of that, if you don't give it enough of a chance, it might not open up for you before you drop it, right? But once you do give enough a chance and you get enough of the guns, and it starts giving you a lot more traversal capabilities. I mean, look at what Mr. Boomstick is doing right now. He can climb the entire freaking planet at this point, depending on all the tools you have at your disposal. It's very, very, very cool. It's just my question in general, and it's to the chat, it's to my fellow panelists. What other way, how else can you foresee that a game that has caught the zeitgeist this much and ended up being the reviews it got? Like, what other reason could be? And Xbox, console exclusive and blah 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 blah. I mean, on PC right now, 23 reviews, 68 Metacritic.
Somewhat disappointing.
Right? It's just very strange. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And I think that, I don't want to take the cynical view of, it's because it's, blah, 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 Xbox or whatever. But hey, as it also stands, it looks like that Game Pass effect has also worked in its favor, because as we've also heard, the news. Oh, Oh, I hear I'm cutting out. Am I cutting out? Can you hear me cutting out?
No,
by
No,
any
you
chance?
you cut out for a bit and then you're fine.
Oh.
You started
Yeah.
echoing, but you're okay now.
Apologies.
you're
Okay,
good.
okay. Let me know if
Some
need be,
funky's
I'm
going on
fixing it.
tonight.
Yeah, it seems the gremlins are in the works, but we'll keep it moving.
funky.
But but no, basically, my question is, why is it that folks aren't giving this thing the chance that it deserves? It really does deserve a more of a chance, and Microsoft should be proud that they were able to secure this thing and get it in front of people, and now it's becoming one of their biggest launches ever. So that's awesome. I think, you know.
This is one of those studios that obviously started out, in VR, right? Their first game was in fact in VR.
They also have a flat version of it too.
Yeah, which I'm
The
playing.
last game
I'm
was-
playing.
yep.
I'm playing through it. It was very, very similar in scope and I'm quite enjoying it. I don't necessarily like. I don't know, something about it. I didn't care too much for it with the way the first person view worked initially, and that's obviously because it was originally VR, and they did make a flat version. It's not great, but High on Life is something special, folks. This is something that I'm happy to say that I'm going to play through completion. I don't want to play anything else. I literally do not want to play anything else. I'm enjoying the humor. I'm enjoying the fact. I'm one of the achievements I got, which I thought was a really, really cool tip of the cap towards Fallout. You stab an NPC, and it said you couldn't do that in Fallout 21.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got that achievement too. I felt
Yes.
so bad.
Did you hear the Donut Country reference in there? The game. Oh, look at that hole. It's like Donut Country. Oh, by the way, you guys should get that game. It's really good. It's on sale all the time. It's like the dude literally stops and goes, "You should get that game. It's pretty good." Very good references.
There is a lot of Easter eggs in this game. I mean, a lot of them, especially the space Applebee's. If you know what I'm talking about, absolutely hilarious. Like literally hilarious. But Crispy Bomb, let's get your opinion on this. Listen, you can sometimes be cynical like myself. Is this one of those situations where the bias took over the conversation rather than the game being, being a part of the conversation as it should?
Dude, like this game for me is just like it's a me and the girlfriend game, to be honest. Like we'll go through this game. Is it really my bag? No, I'm there for the humor. And that's where like I think some of these reviews went. They didn't understand the humor.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of like sometimes I'll be explaining to her why this is, because she'll be just looking at it like objectively, like this doesn't make any sense. And I'm just like,
I love it.
I understand that it doesn't make any sense, but this, and this, because they said this, and this earlier, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh shit," and it's a weird dynamic that like a game like this will give us, and it's one of those things. Hey, it might take 6 months because we're not together all the time. We're both working, doing our jobs. You know what I'm saying? So. It's one of those things that like, I'm going to relish the fact that I'm not paying full price for nothing. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm paying my $15 a month.
Yep.
I have a plan around it. Like the money's not just vanishing into thin air. Like I'm actually looking at it saying, okay, this is coming out soon. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things like, do I want to pay $15 per month or $7 up front or $60 or $40 or $50? It's one of those things that I say logically, I'm going to pay the $15 per month and get games like this that I can say, you know what? I'm going to boot it up later.
Yep.
I'm going to let it because everybody's saying great things about it. I love Rick and Morty. I think Rick and Morty is amazing. The humor is sometimes dry, but also it kind of like goes in like a weird way that all of a sudden it comes back to the beginning almost. And I mean, I've kind of experienced that through South Park sometimes, especially in the beginning. So, it's one of those things like all of a sudden you're like, okay. I see why you did all this. It was irony, it was crazy, but at the same time, like that's where I'm like, this game, like it's gonna be like Doom Eternal is to me. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's
But
exactly what Asante said. Yep.
it's gonna be one of those games, like, because I'm not gonna play it, and everybody's saying like, oh, like what is easy anymore? You can like have sliders and stuff, which is totally logical for anybody that wants to do that. But I'm the type of person, like, I'm gonna play it on the normal setting and see what happens.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And playing Doom Eternal on the normal setting for somebody that does not play first person shooters is absolutely terrifying. It really is. You know what I mean? So you look at that and you say, the first person, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm blind in my right eye. I don't know. Okay, but they don't do it for me. Like I do
will
like
warn
a
you,
third.
Crispy, I will warn you. If you go to normal, the game is goofy looking, but it will kick your ass. It gets hard.
It absolutely
Well,
does.
no,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Like as long as it it does that logically and not like against, like, because my girlfriend kicks
It is fair. It's absolutely
my
fair. It's not like
girlfriend
unfair.
kicks my butt as Jade all the freaking time. Okay. Like we play MK11 and she just kicks my butt. Okay. So I look at that and I say, like, as long as she's comfortable, I'm good. But we gotta, there's got to be some kind of logical, like just push forward part of it. And I haven't heard anybody say that. Like you can push forward even on normal, and you can do these certain things, and it'll make it happen. You know what I mean? So like until I see that, like, because I watch a lot of reviews and stuff, I'm reluctant because I don't want somebody that I love hating video games because it just ticks them off. You know what I mean?
No, of course, yeah.
So it's one of those things, like, there's that little part there, but like want to make it bigger type thing. I'm done.
We lost Boom. You there, Boom?
Yeah, I think the internet's getting kind of screwy tonight.
Oh no. We
Or
may have
maybe
lost
you
yeah.
have
Mr.
to go
Boomstick.
do something or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Asante,
Well,
Asante, it is your turn.
That's okay. You know what?
here we go.
Hargeet,
Yeah.
Hargeet,
Please
you're up
continue,
next. Go
yes.
for it.
Me,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Um,
you're up. Yeah. Have you
yeah,
tried
for
Spit your
High on
truth,
Life,
sir.
yeah, I mean, I have not played this game yet.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's that's doing this well, though. And the only thing I get attributed to is especially the fact that it's also doing well on Steam is maybe it's Rick and Morty. I don't know what is making it so popular. Even like things like people are streaming it or something like that, even word of mouth. There've been plenty of games like that, but not to this level. I mean, this is very amazing for them, which is great. That's great for this developer. It's great for the IP. I hope they can get something from there. Maybe get some sequels or whatever. Haven't played it. I don't know what the ending's like, and hopefully it doesn't kill it. But assuming there's room for more, it obviously seems like there's a demand for this, which is cool, right? There's also the potential for other games in this genre. Maybe we're just missing the mark on having games like this, right? So, but yeah, it's a pretty good thing for them. Yeah, I'd like to actually play it. I haven't played it yet, so I can't really.
Well, being out, you're on vacation for the next couple of weeks, I would definitely
recommend this one as
give
well.
it a run. I think it is one. It drags in the beginning a bit. I will say that, but I never walked away. It was like, yeah, this game is not for me. I knew what I was getting because it's a Rick and Morty game. I knew that the humor was going to be polarizing. I knew from the beginning that there was going to be. See, for me, I'm like a diehard Insomniac Games fan, and this game does scream the color palette, the humor. I mean, obviously, their humor isn't as vicious as as Rick and Morty's, but it's still funny. But they're guns. There's always with Insomniac Games, they're always weird and wacky and wild guns, and you have that in spades with this game. I am quite enjoying it. You definitely got to play it.
Yeah.
The last recommendation would be, this is definitely a headphone game if you have impressionable youths in the
Yes,
room.
absolutely.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was a problem. When I get to my part, I'll tell you the story. But yeah, it's funny.
You know what?
Yeah, Boom, you cut out, brother. So what we did is we just moved on from crispy
No, it's not
down
that.
to
It's
hard
not
heat.
that I cut out. Someone knocked on the door. I had to.
Oh,
deliver.
sorry.
no
we
worries,
thought you were.
no
We
worries.
thought your internet just decided to
No,
say bye.
no. I had to. I've been waiting all day for this particular Christmas gift to arrive, and thankfully they brought it up and didn't leave it downstairs for some prick
Very
to
nice.
steal. Some.
Oh, New York, man.
But listen, Mag, before I get to
Yes.
you, brother, let me catch up some of the super
Do your thing,
chats.
brother.
The first one of the day comes to us from a very good friend of the show. Sir X-Man drops a $5 super chat and says, Merry Christmas, everyone. And when the show is over, I'm looking forward to playing golf with my buddy Crispy. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. We have Drawn TJ, generous friend of the program. He drops a $2 super chat and says, hi everyone, this is going to be a fire show. Well, thank you so much for that, brother. Definitely appreciate it. And Alvin drops a $5 super chat and says 90% positive Steam ratings, and those are from folks who paid $60. Hit the like button. It's going to be a great show. Thank you so much for the compliment, and I'm glad that you are enjoying it. Mag, what has been your love-hate relationship with High on Life so far?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, let me tell you the funny part of the story that when I first turned it on, because it's colorful, it's cartoony, you know what I mean? Like it's got that sort of vibe, and of course, kids, how kids are, they're immediately drawn to that, to that type of like animation and stuff, right? So I'm playing it, right? So I put on the opening scene just after like you play that little like sort of like Doom 64 kind of game, the one like, and then all of a sudden it pans out and all of a sudden your sister comes in, right? So my kids are watching. I'm like, all right, they haven't said anything bad now, so maybe they can watch the opening. And immediately the sister pulls out a mirror and starts snorting cocaine right in the opening shot. She's sitting there going,
we call that sugar booger, sir. That's booger sugar.
And she's sitting there going, and she's doing lines of coke, and I'm going, okay, kids, time for bed. They lasted a minute.
The same thing happened to me. Like literally the same thing.
It was like a minute and 4 seconds. And I'm like, and they're done. And then, of course, the next day, Daddy, can I see some more of that game you were? I'm like, nope, you're not seeing any more of that. But anyways, enough of the ridiculousness. The thing is, I started playing the game. The first hour was a little tedious because I'm like, ugh, what is happening here? They're like, okay, walk from A to B, walk from B to C, walk from A to C, walk from B to A, talk to this alien for 5 minutes. And I'm like, if the whole game's going to be like this, I'm out. Right? But then, and that's when I kind of got a little pissy pants and I put that little thing on Twitter. I mean, I was only just being facetious and funny, whatever. But I'm like, all right, Twitter, rip me apart. I don't like the game. But here's the thing. I started playing that other game, Gungrave, whatever. Anyways, the thing is, now I'm playing the game. I'm about 4 hours in, I guess maybe 4 or 5 hours. I've defeated, I think, 3 or 4 bounties, and I've got the jetpack and the whole thing, whatever. And I found myself last night, I ended up playing for like 2 hours straight without budging. And I'm like, okay, it's slowly coming around, right? And that's why it's so important, guys and reviewers out there. It's so important to actually finish a game. Okay, that's the importance of finishing a game. You know how like there was a controversy. We were talking about it on this very show. I think it was in the fall or late summer. We were talking about the fact that reviewers aren't finishing games and reviewing them, right? And that this is an absolute a case study in why it's important to finish a game, because you're not getting the full picture. Right. And now that the picture's sort of unfolding in front of me, I'm like, all right, this is getting better. And then apparently Kei Asante told me, he says, well, now that you got the jetpack, the traversal is going to get better. And then the game is going to pick up even more. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic, because other than that, the game is great. The mechanics are sound. The shooting is sound. Everything, the controls are pretty tight. I mean, I had to adjust the sensitivity. It was a little bit too sensitive. For a controller. If I had a keyboard and mouse, it'd be a little bit easier. But for the controller, it was like wildly swinging the gun from left to right way too much. So I had to dial that back a bit. But other than that, the game is great. It's funny. My friends from Red Letter Media are on there. So keep an eye on that, by the way. If anybody notices, there's a movie theater in there. And if you go into the movie theater and sit down and they're showing a movie, I can't remember what the hell the movie's called, one of those B movies. And there's 3 aliens sitting in the theater and they're all talking smack about it, kind of like that Mystery Science 3000 or whatever the hell it is.
Very nice.
Right? Those 3 guys are Mike and Rich and Dave, I think it is Dave, from Red Letter Media. And
Oh,
Red Letter
crap.
Media is the guys.
Wow.
Yeah, like those guys, they did all the voiceover work for that. And it is the funniest I have. Oh, sorry, Mike, not Dave. Jesus. Dave is from another show. Yeah, so the thing is, it is the funniest voiceover work I've
You know
ever
that
heard.
I've been
Like, I was-
playing for over. I think I'm like 15 hours in, something like that.
Right.
So I'm really exploring. I have not found that movie theater.
Find that movie theater, and you'll find the Red Letter Media guys in there. It's really, really funny.
You have to buy like the discs, the discs that take. Well, I'll tell you, I'll tell you how.
I got 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them is a movie. One of the first ones you get is a movie. Like you can use it as a
Is
movie
that that
theater.
Tammy and the T-Rex or something like that? Is that what that
It
was?
might be
Yeah,
that one,
it's
the one with
something
Denise
like-
Richards or something, and they show it
Yeah.
on the big screen. And then, like I said, and then the Red Letter Media guys are doing like a Mystery Science 3000, like cracking jokes
That
about it
is
as the movie's playing.
hilarious.
And apparently, it's just absolutely. I mean, I watched some of it, and I
Isn't
was
this
crying.
one of those games where you literally have to just walk slowly instead of go to your destination? You just want
Yes,
to hear what
because
everyone's
things
got
are
to
happening.
Say.
That's
Well,
what, that's
I
what
actually
Bolt
had the
was,
gun yell at me and said, he actually literally just as I was playing goes, you're always jetpacking here and there, thinking you're like a superhero. You might want to stop and look around and check out the scenery. I'm just
Exactly.
saying, and I'm like, oh my
That's
god.
awesome.
Have you also noticed that when you're talking to an NPC, the gun's eyeballs will move towards where the voice is coming from?
Yes,
It's actually quite
Mrs.
cute.
Boom got a little freaked out. She goes, "Could you tell me why that gun is looking at me?"
Yeah, it's weird, but it's so funny. So, like, when an NPC is talking, you see your gun's eyeballs sort of like drift over to where the NPC is. It's really funny because it shows that the gun is literally listening in on the conversation. So it is funny and all those things. Now, let's. I'm going to get into something real quick here before I pass off to Everborn. Is that when it comes to the reviews and stuff like that, right? I'm not 100% sure if any of these guys finished it. It's a little bit sus, as the kids would say. Now, the other thing is,
I think they watched the movie in the theater and rated the game as
They rated
exactly.
the Michelle Richards movie.
yeah, they rated the movie. So,
Hilarious.
so here's the thing: beauty is always in the eye of the beholder when it comes to these things. Maybe they did play the game. Maybe they did have a great time, or maybe they didn't have a great time and they didn't review well. Whatever. Fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. However, if you look at like games that what was it? What's the Metacritic right now? 71? Is that what you said?
No, 60 something.
Oh Jesus. Okay, so it's in
Yeah.
the 60s. Now, if we go back, and I know
It's
some people give me
68 right
smack.
now.
It's
It
what?
is-
Sorry.
it is. Let's see. On PC, it's 68,
Okay.
and on console, I think it's 63 or something like that. Oh.
Well, hey, you know what? The people have spoken. Just like in a movie theater, you see like the critics who are usually out for some political agenda, they'll trash talk one movie and the fans love it. And then
Yeah,
they give other
this
movies
is
9s and 10s
absolutely.
because it fit their political whatever narrative, and then the fans hate it. Right? And then like you see the differences between like a critic score and the user scores, right? No
Absolutely.
different in the video game industry. Right?
Yep.
So you got all these different things happening. And the thing is, again, like I said, last generation on the PlayStation side of things, I'm going to ignore Xbox for just a moment here. Days Gone was in my top 5 games of the entire generation. I had so much fun with that game. Excuse me. And I adored every minute of it. I got the platinum, of course, and I couldn't stop playing it. And I'm like, this game is great. The story was good. It was engaging. I love the combat. I love the zombie thing. Of course, I love the zombie thing and the open world and all that kind of stuff. Great. But guess what? The Metacritic scores were in the 60s.
Yeah, they were. Yep.
Right? And I thought it was me personally, it was in my top 5 of the generation, no joke. And that's up with the likes of The Last of Us 2, Dying Light 2. Those were all Rise, Son of Rome. And then, of course, and then I put Days Gone in there, right? So these were all in Ghost of Tsushima. And those are all games that in Red Dead Redemption. So I put it all in that category of those kind of games. So therefore, it didn't matter what the critics gave it. I bought it on sale. I'm like, all right, let me give it a shot. And then I ended up falling in love with it, right? So the thing is, a lot of people are clearly connecting to this game. And that's very important, and it's great for Xbox. It's a great boost that they need for a really bad year, let's face it. I know some people have come after me and said, I'm like, listen, guys, you can ho-hum all you want. It was a bad year.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, you cannot deny it. Yes, they gave you thousands of dollars and stuff in Game Pass. But you know what? It wasn't what you need to move the needle, okay? And this game is the shot in the arm they needed.
Yep.
It was a shock. It was my personal, when I watched the E3, actually, we watched it together, Boom and Panel, when we did our live reactions. It was my game of the show. And after the show, when we talked about it, we were all talking about it. And I remember Boom, you said to me, you said, Mag, what is your game of the show? I'm like, this High on Life game is my game of the show because it just blew me away when I watched it. And you know what? It's slowly but surely proving that it's actually got some substance behind just my initial reaction. So that's great. So anyways, go out there. If you got Game Pass, download it, enjoy it, play it, and be part of history because it's apparently broken every Game Pass record, which is fantastic and shows these clowns that, once again, subscription models work.
Yeah,
So,
they do.
You know what I'm saying? And wait till Xbox's huge games come in.
Yes.
Then we're going to be talking turkey, kids.
I want some multiplayer from these guys. I want to see how
I want this game in VR.
and crazy.
I got one better for you. I'm part of the zeitgeist now. We're gonna get to Everborn. People are talking about it in the chat. I put a tweet out there that got some significant traffic. You know what I want from Squanish Games? I want to see them giving the reins to the Conquer IP and let them make a new Conquer. Think about that for a second. Think about what they've done. The humor, because Conquer is an adult. He's an adult. They say like it's toilet humor. He's not. He could be very nasty. That little squirrel. And I think that it's an IP that Rare doesn't want to do. And Squanish Games. First of all, I will say this, and I'm gonna get on this damn train. They should be acquired by Microsoft forthwith. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If they don't want to be acquired, I understand it. But if they are looking to join Xbox Game Studios, Phil Spencer should get this done. This is one of those games that come out that if you judge a company or a developer based on what they have delivered, this is the kind of team you want on Xbox Game Studios, especially if you say, hey, we want a sequel to this game, but more so, we want you to we want you to do you guys feel like doing Conquer? And I guarantee you they're like, absolutely, that's a classic IP. But Everborn Saga, what are your thoughts on the critics getting this one wrong?
I mean, they got Sonic wrong.
Well, I mean, of course they got Sonic wrong.
Right. So
that's
this,
mic drop status. I mean, come on.
This doesn't surprise me, and when I say they got Sonic wrong, right? And nobody listened to me at the time, but it was super strange to me that they had there were 60 Sonic reviews and 54 of them were on PlayStation. Right?
I come back in and the first thing I hear is Sonic reviews. Aren't we talking about
No, but just hear what I'm saying.
See how it snuck its way in?
I'm painting a picture here. Right?
A Sonic picture, of course.
So that's sort of the thing. And there were no reviews on Xbox and then 6 reviews on Switch. Right? And we knew Switch was going to be the highest seller for that game, but for some reason it was on PlayStation. And I say that to say this game is only on Xbox. Yep. And by and large, reviewers don't really care about Xbox games. Right? And so it doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. And if they played it for a few minutes and they didn't like it, then that's all you're going to get. And Mag, I'm going to start calling you the Canadian Everborn. Because your exact experience, and Kayasante can tell you this, that I had the same thing. We were doing GCP. I only played it for like an hour. And I was like, yeah, it's not that good. Right? And then everybody in the chat was saying, you're a fraud. Right? You don't have the knife yet. Don't talk to me about whether it's good. And then I played it for a couple of more hours. And I'm like, wow, this is great. And the more you play it, the better it gets. And I feel like, this kind of has in the reviewer's mind, it has the Xbox stench on it.
Yep.
Right? You got the Xbox Stankonia.
Yeah. So it just it's not it. Listen, and I'm not saying this to be any like conspiracy theorist. I have, I'm all about the conspiracy theories, but
I don't know
what I'm saying is the evidence is undeniable, right?
Yep.
How could a game that is this popular on the service only get 17 reviews or 30 reviews now? Right? It's like reviewers have to be shamed into reviewing it. And then on top of that, their reviews are so far off from the people who are actually playing it.
Yeah, it's
They're
it's
Like, that's
literally
those
it's
are
it's
those
literally
are those are
literally
the
night and day.
facts,
It's night and day
right?
reviews. Yeah.
So for me, you have to wonder, and I see Pixelbit G in the chat. Shout out to you. What are they going to do to Redfall and Starfield?
Begrudgingly review it.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's how I
I
feel too.
don't. I'm going to be honest with you. No matter what happens, Starfield will not be properly reviewed
Yeah, I
unless
agree.
it's one of us,
Yeah.
because it is going
It's
to be
too
one of those
big.
games that is just way too big,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you need logic involved in what Bethesda does, and they are going to make their own world from this game. That is my true belief. That you are going to be enveloped in this, and it might come to VR at some point, and I think that would be incredible.
right.
Yeah.
So for me, I think again, as David says, what you eat can't make me shit. Right? You can't. Especially when if you're on Game Pass, there's zero barrier of entry. If you are already on the service, you just have to try these things for yourself, man. And word of mouth is the best advertisement. So people can review something, it really means nothing. And now here's a question that I have. This game probably didn't have the largest budget, right? And yet it's such a big bang.
50 people in the studio only too. It's a small studio.
That's
Right. So
crazy to
small
me.
studio, probably, small budget compared to some other projects, big bang. Is there any thought that this is sort of what Matt Booty was talking about in terms of, I know this is not first party, but I'm saying the content that goes into Game Pass, where it's high profile, high quality, double A content more than anything.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the thing. I don't want that to take away from the AAA stuff that they need, right? I think that their titles need to be the advertisement or the system sellers
Yeah.
for the service, and then let the rest of it be filled out with the high on lives and the Shredder's Revenges and the Silk Songs of the world, right? Like high quality double A is what you should get in between the banger triple A's, which only make financial sense for the platform holder to put on there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's something to be said about that. But this is again, I want to shout out Squanish Games for delivering probably one of the best Xbox exclusives of the year.
I mean, it's also one of the only. But even if it wasn't, I think I think they did a fantastic job. It's always so good when you're looking forward to a project and then it actually delivers on what you hoped for, right?
So,
Because when they
Evermore,
first announced
I
this, I
have a
was like,
question for you.
yes, sir.
How long do you think before we see this come into PlayStation, or do we see it?
They already said it's not.
Oh, they already said it's
Did
not.
they say that?
I could have sworn that they said that when they asked about it, they said they don't have any plans to bring it to anywhere else but where it's currently.
Well, all
That's
right then.
interesting.
Huh. Okay.
That is
I will
super interesting.
confirm right now. I could have sworn I read when they were specifically asked if this was coming anywhere else. They said right now we have no plans to bring it to anywhere else but where it's at. So I don't know if that's if it's
now all of a sudden there's some zeros behind their name that might change things. Who knows?
Yeah.
they should be acquired. I will say
they
that.
making a PlayStation exclusive?
They might be. This might be a project that they're doing with Xbox. But the thing is, I hear a lot of talk. I do love the idea of Squanch Games potentially partnering with Xbox to do Conkers. However, Justin Roiland is filthy rich from Rick and Morty, right?
Yes, he doesn't need money.
If he wants to have his game studio and make the projects he wants, I don't think there's an amount of money that Microsoft can throw at him that he's going to care about, right?
Here, guys, I got the quote right in front of me. It comes the way of Dextro.com. They asked them specifically, is this game coming to PlayStation 5? They said this. Sadly, there are no current there are currently no signs that a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 version of High on Life is in the works.
Really?
Meaning that PlayStation players will miss out on Justin Roiland's latest creation for the foreseeable future.
You see, and that's how you attract people to your brand.
Indeed.
Because it's going to be difficult to not hear all the hype around this, because everybody's covering it. You could see it on Twitter, you could see it on IGN, you could see it on all these different gaming sites. They're talking about it's the biggest downloaded game for Xbox, it's the biggest the biggest game in Game Pass, and that. More people are playing it than Minecraft, whatever, right? All these different things.
You know what, Mac?
Yeah,
the score's starting to make sense now. That's all I'm going to say.
I said that from the beginning.
Yeah, no, he's not wrong. You're not wrong.
Sorry,
but I'm saying that's how you bring people in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, listen. At the end of the day, folks, exclusives matter. They absolutely do. Sony has a great track record with great exclusives. Nintendo have a great track record with exclusives. Now, I'm not saying that Xbox doesn't, but 2023 is going to reveal new IPs, old school IPs coming back in a big way in motorsport and
so Boom.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, and by the way, folks were saying my voice, my mic was cutting out again. I changed some things. Let me know if it's better now. But
yeah, that's good in the chat.
Well, as Pixelbit G says, very, very, very poignantly, first Vampire Survivors. Now they're really like getting their lane there with those weird games you didn't think would hit you. You know, it's actually very interesting.
Listen, I'm sorry, Mag. You can add Pentiment.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look at the score.
It's slowly gaining. It's slowly gaining popularity. It's because people are coming around. They're like, listen, it may not be for me, but the score is gaming. Sorry, my God, the game is scoring 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
Right.
Like these are impossible to ignore.
And everybody went crazy over As Dusk Falls. Like, it's one of the best stories this year. So when you sit back and take the 30,000-foot view, we're missing one thing. It's not games. It is the AAA first party games. That's
right. What's AAA anymore?
Like, but you know what though? That's when you couple those. You couple the quirky with the big titles, right? And that's where you're covering all the bases.
Next year, right?
That's what they're going to do next year. But yeah, they really got to do it though. Instead of talking about it. Yeah, actually do it this time.
Listen, you're absolutely right for saying so. Listen, we have a small topic we're going to get into, which we're going to just run through the panel and get your opinion on whether or not it's going to happen, and then we're going to get into the Tomb Raider conversation. Because, folks, I got to be honest with you. When I saw that Amazon Studios was publishing the next Tomb Raider, which according to them is going to be the biggest in the series, folks. It had me a bit perplexed.
Should have been Xbox.
I mean, first of all, Xbox.
Is it not Xbox though? Is it not?
I mean, right now it's not. Embracer Group owns the IP and they own the studios that are going to make it.
But what is Crystal D doing? Working.
Crystal D is
but they're working. Amazon does not work with. We'll get into it when we get that topic. But Amazon ain't working with Microsoft. I'll tell you that right now. They hate each other's guts.
They literally hate each other, which is why they probably dropped a ridiculous amount of money to get this locked up. But yesterday, what was making the rounds was an opt that was written by Seeking Alpha, and basically it was instead of breaking news. It was a breaking views with a V opt where the author suggested heavily that Microsoft's next investment is going to be Netflix after the ABK deal is signed, sealed, and delivered. Now, Brad Sams put out a video where he dissected this and doesn't believe it is going to happen. But, again, they ran the piece. I thought it would be interesting. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest with you. I don't necessarily think they need them. Some people are going to suggest that if they were going to buy anyone, it should be WB. But at this point, WB is they're just not doing really well. I know James Gunn, and I like James a lot. I really do love his work. I am really soured on the Henry Cavill situation. I don't know if you've been watching the socials. The Rock has unfollowed WB. He's out there, being politically correct, but he's pretty pissed that, his version of Black Adam, which Mrs. Boom and I saw, we loved it. We really enjoyed it. It does not have a place in the DCU, as they're now calling it. Next year's 4 films, folks. 4 DC films are coming out next year, and you know what they mean? Ugats, because they're not part of anything. I don't even know if they're going to be part of Elseworlds.
Well, they've canceled most of them, Boom.
Yeah, well, I mean, you still have the Flash, Flashpoint coming. You still Aquaman 2 is on the way.
James Gunn is going to bring back Batgirl.
Oh, well, who knows?
And Blue Beetle as well.
Blue Beetle. True.
Yes, which is not.
I'm surprised the Flash is still coming. That's the only one that should actually be canceled, and that's the one that's coming.
That's because Ezra Miller's unfortunately that kid has got some major
problems.
Major mental problems. Yeah, he absolutely needs some serious help. But
so keeping the Flash, but getting rid of Superman.
Right? Decisions.
I don't get it. But let's go to Que Sante. Que Sante. This a lot of people calling this a big nothing burger. Do you believe it?
Oh, I mean, to me, the story is that a reputable outlet, reputable most times, outlet like Reuters will put a piece out and kind of skew the, hey, breaking news from us. This is breaking views.
Right.
Get out of here with all of that. And then when you start digging into the details, it's hypothesis and all of that, reading of the tea leaves, but it's really like, and as you said, Brad Sams and others have actually come out and really put the pieces together of market cap and how much you'd have to pay extra and how much Microsoft is going through.
This would be $150 billion deal. It doesn't even seem
how much hell Microsoft is going through now at $70 billion. You want to add 100 to that?
Well, just one thing to the Brad Sams thing. I agree on his end goal, but the point he made about cash on hand doesn't really.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I mean, there's always logistics that you can go through. You could do with cash.
Most acquisitions don't happen on cash.
Yeah,
right?
Microsoft is one of the only few ones that can bam do you like that. Most people want to negotiate
some combination of loans, common stock, things like that.
But
so the money wise, they could do it. Everything else,
of course they could. But at the end of the day, it's still not realistic. It doesn't seem realistic at all for them to do that, and especially all the heat they're getting now. I bet you if you present that to the FTC, to the regulators, even Brazil would go, come on, bro, that's a little much. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, you're affecting the entire world at that point. Netflix is now basically part and parcel of the entire world's entertainment. So, I'm not sure that this thing holds water. It is still interesting though that they felt the need to bring this out and put their stamp of approval, their reputation behind it. It's an interesting thing to put out there. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I agree. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence on it.
I don't feel that it's that unlogical, to be honest with you. I mean,
talk about it, brother. Really, why do you feel that way? Obviously, Microsoft can't afford to do it.
You really look at what Netflix has done with video game IP, and it's some of the best you've ever seen. Witcher, for example. Okay, how about Edge Runners?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
on that I have no doubt. You're absolutely right on that.
Even technically, you look at some of their IP that they've made, and it's almost, you feel like it's almost after a video game. You understand what I'm saying?
See, the problem we see, Crispy, is that even if they want it, we don't think the powers that be would ever let that happen.
Allow it. Yeah, that's what it really comes down.
No. Okay. So the argument right now, that we have with ABK and plus Microsoft is that they have a strong power in the video game market. I mean, that's basically what I've seen from all the powers that be, the regulators doing. So you go and say, well, what kind of foothold does Microsoft have in any media outlet?
It's not about Microsoft at this point, though.
Yeah,
right. The thing to really think about here is Lena Khan doesn't care.
Yep.
Right. Right. It's a big tech company. They are a hammer. Big tech are nails.
And one piece of the puzzle,
go into the fact that the CMA or the EU is going to possibly
they would squash it too.
Well, but think about it. The one piece of the puzzle that people don't think about, they'll go, oh, it's all about the entertainment and all of that. It would take a huge chunk out of the cloud business.
Yeah.
But
Netflix
aren't
is a
these-
huge
aren't
in
these
cloud.
companies-
All you know what would happen?
It's-
You would hear what do you call it? Amazon start doing what Sony's
That's
doing
true as
right
well.
now. That's
That
what
is
they're
very
doing.
true. Yes,
But-
they
And they would be
absolutely would.
screaming to high hell
So-
because that
so
is their
this is-
biggest chunk
This
of the
is
pie.
where I kind of
But even
pull
that
every- 'cause,
isn't enough.
you bring up Amazon. I
Mhm.
understand that, but they are producing and funding a complete and total Fallout series,
Mhm, yeah.
which is absolutely
And
Bethesda's
Microsoft.
property.
Yes, of course.
Okay, which
Yes.
is owned by Microsoft.
Well, but
All right,
you have to
so-
understand one property compared to the like 70% of their pie. Ooh,
Well,
I don't
let
think
me-
that works.
What I'm gonna say is,
Mhm.
okay, because we look at the gaming aspect and we say, you know what, logically, by the numbers, Sony has a 70-30 market share. Okay.
Yep.
So I look at that and I say, okay, when has Microsoft gotten into the entertainment business themselves?
They have
They
not.
did.
Never.
did.
They did.
Yeah,
NBC
many times.
Universal, I think that was
Mhm.
what they owned.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
also spawned
MSNBC. It still exists
right?
Yes.
So, but they did get into it, and they hated it, and they got the heck out.
when they got out.
Yes.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
they
Yep.
did.
MSNBC, the network still
So-
exists. That's where it came from.
So,
the
so
MSNBC.
w-
Yeah.
what I'm saying is if you really, like kind of, box in
Mhm.
what we're talking about, just like we do with the gaming aspect, not the $2 trillion, the gaming revenue, the market share. What I'm saying is that it would be totally logical for them to try to do this.
No.
And this is the reason why this Activision deal they want to go through. If
Yeah.
you really think about it, because it sets a precedent, and it also they have zero market share in all the video,
Film.
all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah,
They,
yeah.
they have
Entertainment.
technically. I mean, I get it. You can use your Windows to get there, but
You're right. They don't have that.
they really don't have that. And yes, you're paying much more than the Activision deal, but if you get that through and then you get this through, I'm talking,
Then it's a party, right?
Yeah, right.
Netflix. I mean, what they have already is very good at video game. I mean, I couldn't believe that I liked the Addams Family again because of Wednesday. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And as I watched it, Ortega was so good. She was perfect. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like wow, like you're a great Wednesday. Like I couldn't believe it. And that's where I go and say, like, Netflix is underestimated. Like that's why I still subscribe to it. It's one of those things, like when I see this, I'm like, yeah, you should do that. Because they know how to, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to release it every week. We're not going to do that. And
Yeah.
they're taking the hit right now for it. They are. But you know what? Some of us, like myself, are going to be like, man, I just want to keep watching, and I can. And that's something that I like. I'm sorry.
No,
pretty
listen,
cool.
dude. I love the opinion, brother. I think you're onto something. Hargeet, first of all, we got to get to the super chats, but I got to thank Hargeet personally, because not only did Hargeet Chani who's on the freaking panel, folks, he dropped $100 super chat. I don't even understand why you would spend so much money, but he doesn't even just do that, folks. He drops multiple codes in the chat. A Gotham Knights Global code, a RE Village code, a Witcher 3 code, a Callisto Protocol code for the Xbox. Hargeet, thank you for the outstanding generosity, dude. That is bonkers. Thank you so much for that. Let me catch up on other super chats. We have a couple of them that popped in here. We have Sir X-Man drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, this game could be the Xbox version of Ratchet and Clank. And we have a super chat that came in thanks to Kayasante that this raises some eyebrows. Highlander 001 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I'm not saying for Microsoft to acquire them, but let them work on the new Conquerors IP. Great show, guys. Happy holidays. Yes, you see, everyone is in the same headspace. We also have Highlander 01 drops another $5 super chat and says, those who can, those who can't become critics. Sony players claim what they can't play. Prove me wrong. And here, Game Down Sites, good friend of the program, drops a $5 super chat and says Justin Rowland just had an Xbox interview today, and he says he wants a war chest to make future games. And he obviously sent it to me in my DMs.
Nice.
Give that man a key to the safe. Is all I'm going to say. Now I know Game Down Sites dropped. That
was it.
Yeah, he dropped an early one.
Yeah,
He said,
an
"Let
early one,
Squanish Games make a new Conquer, acquire them." Yes, and yes to that as well. Highlander 001 drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "No one saw Activision coming either."
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
I did.
Well,
I did see that coming.
Well, to
But-
be fair, this is someone saying they see Netflix coming, right? Like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my rule for acquisitions is if you hear about a rumor of them before the actual announcement, then it's not happening.
Then it's not
Most
happening.
likely. Yeah,
And
you're right.
if you can point to any acquisition where people said, yeah, they're in talks, and then the talks actually materialize versus every other acquisition that just hits us out of nowhere.
You mean PlayStation Square? Oh no, that hasn't happened
Oh,
yet.
right,
Never mind.
exactly.
Never mind.
So and the thing with the cloud piece of it, I do agree, Crispy, that I actually think it's a really good fit, right? And I think it fits into almost every part of the company, right?
Indeed.
In terms
Yeah.
of having the user data, in terms of the migration over to AWS, which is a project that would probably
Or
take
Azure,
a decade,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
it would make Azure the number
The ad
one
marketing
cloud
as well.
platform, which would allow them to secure more business in the cloud just by saying Netflix runs on this stuff. They'd have an in-house studio to
Exactly. Well,
adapt
that
their
to me is the most
games.
important thing.
They
yes.
would be
Yeah.
able to
I think,
push
but there's a
xCloud
but
on that.
coming. I'm waiting to hear the
Right,
but.
and
There's
don't
a
listen
but
to
coming.
anything before the word but.
Yes.
That's the main Everborn rule. So but the point is, um, Amazon would cry worse than Sony.
You're damn
Amazon
right.
with Jim Ryan, for
And
sure.
here's the thing, they have done this already, right? Amazon literally sued the federal government because they gave Azure a contract over that AWS used to have.
Mm.
And they won that case, and now they have to split the contract because Amazon and AWS feel like that they're entitled to all of the cloud business.
Oh, you mean like Sony feels
Right.
they're entitled?
I
Yeah.
promise
okay.
you,
I wanna make sure I
it
get
The
that.
market
not-
leader. I mean,
it would
they are
not go
definitely
over
entitled.
well. And cloud is a huge piece. Netflix only exists because of the cloud, so they wouldn't only.
This
You
would
gotta
be
love
this
it,
would be
don't you?
picking the same fight again as you did with Sony before, but only the new Sony, which would be Amazon, would have the same amount of money you do. So,
Yes.
oh
Right.
boy!
But
it
all
would
of
be
that
some-
is irrelevant. There's one big thing that's just going to block this to even start.
Well, listen, I'm not really
go
like
ahead.
you don't even have to look at the current FTC, right? Because by the time a deal like this would even materialize, there'll
Mhm.
probably be a new administration in, and the current FTC will probably be pushed out if we're being realistic, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So timing wise, they can just wait this administration out if they want to get something like that through. I still don't think it'll happen though, right?
I mean, America wouldn't be the one you'd be worried about because America
Right.
can be reasoned with
Or
Yeah.
you mean
or bought.
that's what I was gonna say. It seems like the EU can be
Yeah, I
reasoned
don't,
with.
I don't think this would go through.
Well, yeah, after what just happened. But listen,
there's just no way.
Mag, let's grab your
Yeah.
opinion on this, brother. I mean,
I'll
are
be
you
quick.
are
Yeah.
you on the same page as everyone? Do you think this is a big nothing burger?
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. But just for argument's sake, even on a theoretical level, it actually would make a little bit of sense. And think about how Netflix and Game Pass would go hand in hand, and how it would reach more people across the globe in different countries.
Yeah.
That's where you can get into markets like East, and when you're talking about the Asian countries, South Asian countries, places like that, where Netflix is huge.
Yeah.
Okay, you think it's big here? It's not big here. Go to India and call me. You know how many? You know what their Netflix numbers are? Massive, and that's why actually, if you look at different markets, you see like movies from different countries. RRR, by the way, best movie of the year next to Avatar. Anyways, just saying. Anyway, here's the thing. You look at all these different
That's on
things. And you
Netflix. I was thinking about watching it over the weekend.
dude, you got to watch it, man. It's a good movie, very good movie, Indian
I'm
movie,
gonna check it out.
fantastic movie. Yeah, check it out. It's got. Anyway, I won't get into it. But anyways, here's the thing. You look at things like that. Yes, you could see the accessibility. Can you imagine what they could do with that? The networking they could do with the game
Crazy.
studios and how they could
Yeah.
use it with Netflix. Wonderful. But again, a pipe dream. But there is something that has to be mentioned. And I know Everborn said, if you heard about it, it means it ain't happening. Well, the things I hear about always happen. So the thing is, when I've been told several times that Apple's buying parts of Disney, it's happening. Whether it's going to be the studios or whether it's going to be the land, which is even up for discussion right now. Like literally the land in Florida and in California. We're not talking about, they're going to buy Marvel. They're buying like property. But anyways, there's also a possibility that they could be buying off some of the property because, they've bitten off more they could chew. And Iger screwed everything up. And then he's making Chapek be the fall man. But that was a whole other thing. So that's that.
Chapek is gone, thank Christ. That guy's
but you know what? Chapek took the fall for Iger's crap because Iger was the one who greenlit all the bombs. And then Chapek shows up. He goes, "Hey guys," he was there for 11 months, and they threw his ass to the curb without a word.
You know what, Mag? We were just talking about this, right? And that's super important. This whole Chapek thing. Iger literally he left after the MCU had done Endgame, which means that whole saga was done, and they had to go into a rebuild phase. He left right before the pandemic started, right? And and then launched a streaming service that didn't have enough content in the pipeline to start with, and then said, "Hey, you go figure it out," and let Chapek take all of the lumps, and then comes back after everything's settled, so that he can be the guy.
He's the white knight.
He's like the knight in shining armor.
He's not slick.
No, he's a buffoon. But you know what? The thing is, at the beginning of his career, he was fantastic. But anyway, we won't get into the Marvel thing. All I wanted to bring up was the Disney thing. I wanted to bring up the possibility that Apple could be buying parts of Disney. If they start doing that and getting into the multimedia aspect of it, well, then we got a problem. Because then you got Apple buying stuff up. You got Sony's doing their thing. You got Amazon doing their thing, and Microsoft doing their thing. They're going to want a piece of that pie too. So don't think that these acquisition wars are just, like Yoda said, it's just the wars have just begun. It's just begun for real. This is the beginning. ABK is but a tip of the iceberg, my friends. This is just the tip of what's actually going to be coming, because all these companies are vying for a better position in the future. And don't think it's not happening. It's 100% happening. And that's why, cryptically, Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella also said 3 years ago and 4 years ago, respectively, that their competition was never Sony. That's corporate speak for.
It was Google.
Thank
you.
Was
Amazon.
Because
they
already knew what they were doing 5 years before they're doing it, right? Because they know in the background because they already know what's going on. We don't know, right? But they know exactly what's going on.
So when they all go to the same country clubs,
they all go to the same country clubs. They all talk. They're all friends.
Access to everybody's spreadsheets, man.
Well, they all know what each other. Trust me. Listen, my competition, which is all over North America. Okay, I deal with Americans and I deal with Canadian corporations. Guess what? We speak to each other. They tell me what they're spending on this, that, and the other thing. I obviously can't go into details. We literally cross-reference each other's business models, yet we're competition. Do you know why? It's so that we can set the bar for the market.
Yeah.
That's why. We don't do it to cut each other under.
Too loud. You'll sound like a cartel.
No kidding, right? But like that's how you set the precedent for for the market across the board. You can't have one clown offering 70% less than me, right? You can have 5% less than me, and then I'll offer 10% less 3 months later for whatever I'm doing, whatever. Obviously, I'm being extremely cryptic, but the point is that this is exactly what they're going to be doing too. They know exactly what's going on. So Microsoft probably had a conversation with Netflix at one point. It might have just been a conversation, but it didn't say it was going anywhere. Then someone picks that up, turns it into a clickbait article, and then it turns into what we're talking about right now.
Well, hold on a second, Mag. Just two things. Firstly, this episode of Primetime Gaming is brought to you by Collusion. The second thing is...
no kidding, eh? Tell me about it.
The second thing is Brad Smith... Not Brad Sams.
I was going to say, which Brad? Yeah.
Right. Brad Smith is on the board of Netflix.
That is confirmed. Yes, he is.
Oh, isn't that a strange coincidence?
Right? And Didn't Reed Hastings used to work for Microsoft?
Of course. Yeah.
Right?
You,
Oh, yeah.
you were
Yeah.
right when you said they're all the same
I
country
mean,
club,
isn't
right?
isn't their entire business model of today based on an idea Microsoft gave them in the 360 days? Literally.
I got news for you. One of the people
still
that
not
they
happening.
considered
Right.
at the right hand for Phil Spencer was poached from Netflix.
That's correct.
Yes,
That's correct. I remember that. And was it?
She apparently she's really good at her job, and she
Wasn't
knows
she
what
the
she's
one
doing.
Isn't she the one who came up with the suggestion of making Phil reveal the console at the Game Awards?
Yes,
Wasn't that
yes.
her?
Yeah, that was her. Yeah,
Yep.
That was her, because
Yep.
she's like, "Why don't you just reveal the console at the Game Awards?" And everybody was like, "What?" And then she's like, "Just do it," and it worked. Right? It was possibly the best move of this generation so far, next to the Bethesda deal so far. But yeah, you know what I mean. But the thing is that these are wild times, folks. These are very interesting times, and I got to tell you, we got conversations for years.
Well, a lot of the big investment community has already been talking. I mean, again, I watch the stocks as well. You know, I like listening to the financial guys speak, not just about games, because obviously, you have some investments here, there, and everywhere. You're retired, so you got to make these investments, folks. I'm doing it, and I like watching the numbers, and I like keeping my eye on the bylines. And some of the biggest talk for this year closing out is how big 2023 is going to be for consolidation and big purchases. It's not going to be just Microsoft making these purchases. Everyone is going to want to consolidate. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. So next year is expected to be big. But listen, what I want to do as we close in on 450 people here, I got to say, folks, we are just a little short of 500 to get to 12K. Now, obviously, with only a week away for the end of the year, we're not going to hit 12K, but I would like to close out the year with at least 11.5. And we are like 3 subs from that. We have like 490, I think 11,497. If you're new and you're enjoying the banter, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's funny because I sometimes get accused, and I'm not going to say who said this about me, but it's fine, that we do these big giveaways because we're looking for subs, which is not only ridiculous. Here's a funny story about that. We gave away $1,000, folks, on Breakfast with Boom, and don't you know we lost 3 subs? Probably because people didn't win, who subbed the channel for think they're going to win a prize.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So just go figure. Trust me when I tell you, Mrs. Boom and I are genuine. We gave out $3,500 worth of prizes this year, and it's not funded by anyone but us. But not so much us. It's funded by the people, you folks. You drop super chats, you drop your channel members. We put those away, and we honestly sit on it for these big giveaways. And at the end of this year, we have given away $3,500. We're very proud of it. It's the most we've ever given out. But I do want to get into Tomb Raider talk. For me personally, folks, this is a sore spot.
So, Boom, can I go into this topic though?
yeah. Please let's get you in on this, because Amazon is a big player in the market.
Not in Tomb Raider. I mean the previous one.
Jump in. Yes, absolutely.
So all these points are good, and yes, Microsoft, they can look at the subscriptions, right, and say 200 plus million subscribers, match it with Game Pass. You've got a winning thing for Game Pass. That's awesome. Here's the problem. The market share for streaming, Netflix is 40+%.
Right.
At 40+%, you are started to be considered a monopoly.
Correct.
So there is zero chance any regulator is going to allow this to happen. It's just not an option.
It doesn't matter who's in office either. It doesn't really matter.
It does not, exactly. It does not matter, because you are in an uphill battle to say you're going to go into a horizontal this time, not vertical, but horizontal,
yes,
and buy the market leader to try to get into something. That is a very tough thing for them to do. On top of that, whether you accept it or not, that merger of Game Pass and Netflix is a massive problem for subscription services in gaming.
Yep.
Right? So now you have another competitive problem with Apple, who is the top at 100+ million subscribers. And now you're going to say, 200 million, and you're going to trump them. You're going to trounce Sony.
Double them. Yeah.
Right? So it's just not going to fly. That's the problem with this. They have a much better chance of going after the struggling, currently destroyed Warner Discovery.
Yes.
Who has no chance of doing anything because they've been straddled with a whole bunch of debt from AT&T, right? Instead, go
Hargeet,
take away the
Hargeet,
debt.
I hear
make
what
it
you're
so they
saying,
can do
Hargeet.
stuff.
Discovery is holding
Well,
them up.
hold
by
on
the way.
1 second, Hargeet. I know what you're saying, but here's let me paint a picture for you. Okay,
Yep.
imagine right now. Of course, what you're saying holds a lot of water, 100%. But they're right now in battle with the ABK deal. We already know that because of various reasons there will be delays, but presumably it'll go through, right?
Yep.
So even if, and I was the first to say this is hogwash. This is not going to happen. But even if, if let's have that thought experiment that maybe there's a realm of possibility. Let's say this ABK thing passes.
Yep.
When does ABK get to a point where they can take their hands off it and refocus? I'd say 2025, 2026.
Well, it
the
depends on when the deal
landscape
finishes.
Yeah, exactly. And it keeps pushing more and more depending on how much logistical mishigas we'll have to deal with, right? But they will not be able to refocus on any other huge purchases until that's behind the back, right? So we're looking 2025, 2026, 2027. The landscape of the streaming market will be completely different then.
Maybe.
And the reason why I say this is because no one saw Disney Plus come to literally eat Netflix's lunch as they have. It's amazing, the meteoric rise.
Except that now that one's also in trouble.
And that one's also in peril. So I guess what I'm saying is the landscape at that time in like 5-6 years from now might not look so weird when Microsoft goes on buying Netflix.
Potentially.
You know what I'm saying?
But it has to be at that time. It has to be under.
Yeah, it wouldn't be today. Like today is ridiculous. Don't even
think about it. If it's like 10%, 15%, they might be able to do it.
Yeah, by then I suspect there'll be a lot more players in that market.
If it's at 30, 40%,
yeah, that's a whole.
Yeah, it would be too much of the market takeover.
It'd be too, exactly.
Again, at that point, folks, and to back up Hargeet here. Right now, Microsoft, when you talk about Game Pass, some people just poo-poo it because it's 29 million. But what if in 3 years it's 100 million? So you match 100 million subscribers for Xbox Game Pass. You say, let's say, for instance, they maintain 200 million. That's 300 million people. That I don't know if that would fly. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's going to be a problem for them.
It would be a massive problem unless something like at that point, Apple has 250 million subscribers and Amazon has 270 million subscribers. Then I can see, and you said the percentage, if it's 10 or 15, 20 maybe, depending on the market. Anything higher than that, there's just no way.
It starts to become a problem. They're going to really say no.
Can I just say this? Who has Amazon Prime right now?
Oh, I do. I pay
everybody
and
their mother. Yes,
everybody and their mother.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
If we're talking about subscribers in general, I think Amazon takes the cake.
They do.
No, it's not. The subscriptions for videos isn't that high for them. It's pretty good. But as far as market share, it's still Netflix, unfortunately.
That's where I'm having the disagreement. If you put it in the box like we have with the gaming aspect, Microsoft has 0 subscribers when it comes to movies and TV. Yes, they've partnered with Paramount and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're not in that business.
They're not in that business. And for them to purchase Netflix,
well, the problem is the problem with that is it's not the problem of they being in that business or not being in that business. You're absolutely right there. It's just all the context around it, the market share, the cloud aspects, all that other background stuff would stop them from getting what they want. Because you're right, 100%. They are not in that market. And if you sole focus on, look, we're talking streaming, Netflix's business, we're not there. Let us buy. That sounds ideal, and that's true. But all the background things, because there is no way Netflix is bought by Microsoft and then they stay on Amazon AWS.
This is where
they'll move to Azure, and that becomes a problem for cloud. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff will happen.
This is where I go and say, okay, Amazon Prime, I subscribe to that. Okay, I also have movies, music. I have all of these things. Amazon is far ahead in their logic, because regardless of what I pay for my Prime membership, I'm looking at that and saying, what value do I have? And I actually have a lot. I mean, you look at the show like The Boys, for example. My God, I mean, for me being an adult, okay, I don't suggest any children watch that, but being an adult, my God, I love that show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of those things where you look at what they provide and you say, how much market share do they really have? Because you remember Microsoft talked about the metaverse, and
Yep.
really Amazon has gone pretty far in ahead of that. And Netflix is doing it, differently because they're, involving huge IP. And now Amazon's like, nah, you know what? Like Fallout's a huge IP. We're going to go there. And it's one of those things like I'm telling you, the one that you got to look at is Amazon. And it's not Apple. Apple has the device and they have, I have an iPhone. Okay. So I look at that and I say, you provide me with a service. You know what I'm saying? And as that service grows, you also charge me in small increments. If you never noticed, if you have an iPhone, yeah, they try to charge you in small increments. Like your card is attached to the phone. If you've done that, okay, and I haven't had anything like taken away from me, but at the same time, they're trying to advertise to you what's going on, and that's what Amazon does all the time. And also, it's already in your service if you have Prime, and that's something that I'll give Amazon a lot of credit. And if they're going to the gaming aspect, do it right, and they're doing it slowly.
Yep.
And that's what we all said. They're going to do it slowly, and they have been. And it's actually pretty smart.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
listen.
numbers, by the way, come from market analysis, not me. So
Okay.
market analysis shows a 40+% market share for Netflix.
Wow.
And Disney's number 2. Amazon's up there, but they're not nearly as high as those two. But it is what it is. So that's kind of where they are. And that could change, right? Yeah, that is a possibility. If the ABK thing happens mid to late next year, the following year, they could announce something like this, but I just don't see that.
I will say this though. I in regards to what Microsoft does next, I really don't want to see them go big. I want to see IO, Avalanche. I want to see a Sobo.
Yeah.
I want to see something like Squanish Games. Like I want them to go and start picking up studios, individual studios that they're currently working with that need to be
Well,
covered.
look at Obsidian, Boom. I
yeah,
mean, really.
yeah, perfect.
No,
example
I
of that.
completely agree with you on that. Like, dude, like look at Obsidian. they're marketing for people. Look at it freaking multiple different devs.
I mean, look at
are
NXR.
doing
I mean, they just put
different
out a tweet today
Yes,
that they're working on that AAA IP, and they said they literally killed it to close out the year, and they're so proud. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to see what they're working on. But I'm going to tell you what Microsoft isn't currently working on, folks. They're not working on the next Tomb Raider. They're not even publishing. They're not doing anything, and I'm disappointed. I'm going to say that right now. It was announced just the other day that Amazon Studios, who again, Hargeet, I'm going to go to you first on this. You got to watch out for them because they're damn sneaky, those Amazon folks over there. They're looking to make a big splash. And, obviously Amazon has a PlayStation IP coming out as an exclusive to their brand, right? They have Forbidden West or Horizon. They're doing a series on Horizon. I don't know if it's going to be Zero Dawn or Forbidden West or somewhere in between. That's coming. They're doing obviously they're working on the Fallout series, which I saw a preview of and looks wow. I mean, like the power armor looked really good. But Hargeet, man, I tell you, it stings, brother. I'm not even gonna try and sugarcoat it. I am crushed that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal didn't become first party. Now I know there's been some talk about maybe them holding on to these studios until Microsoft is done with this deal and selling them back, or buying them for cheap, selling them for high, and Microsoft is the one with the biggest money. But Tomb Raider being produced or published by Amazon, I kind of think that this is a missed opportunity for Xbox. That's just my opinion on it. I mean, I could be wrong. And again, it's just my opinion. I think that there was something to really be said here, folks, where they go out and they lock up Lara Croft as an exclusive for their brand with the relationship that Phil has with the head of Embracer Group. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Man, like all of these things to me are all about this stupid ABK deal. And, because everything they do right now, they have to disclose, right? So if they make that deal, they have to disclose that deal, and then it'll be used against them, weaponized against them.
Yep.
And, and this is all just guesswork, right? But my guess is, yes, they probably did talk, right? And, Phil and team just have to go with, well, if we do this now, it's going to look bad.
Yep.
So we're just not going to take the hit. Amazon is better than PlayStation because it'll be multi-plat, right? So if Amazon's doing it, okay, cool. That game will be multi-plat.
They've already confirmed that it's going to be a multiple next gen only. Yeah.
Yeah. So it at least they're still going to get the game. But man, this deal is just holding so many things up, and it really is kind of annoying because there's so many of these money hat things they could do that I think are all just like right now they're just like on holding pattern to get the CMA and the EC done.
Hey, Hargeet,
you
know the other piece of it, they can't even really do a wink and a nod, right?
Yeah, they can't.
Because if it comes out that they're like, listen, we got you, just hold on.
It's illegal.
And someone reports that.
Yep, it's illegal. You can't do it.
Yes, it is considered illegal.
Yeah, so it really does suck. But I think that's really it. And even like this High on Life, right? If they wanted to do a nice money hat deal to say, hey, we'll fund the next 3 games for you, right? Let's talk, right? Don't have to buy them, but I'll just fund the next 3 games. They can't do it because basically that would be another exclusive set they would have to go disclose. It really just kind of sucks, right? This whole thing is kind of annoying, right? Now, and that's just me guessing.
Microsoft has no problem making stuff exclusive. Why won't they do it to COD? That's all they're gonna say. And they're gonna say it in that voice.
Yeah. It is what it is, right? And you're right. Unfortunately, it is like that. That is literally it. It's the crying. It's whatever. It is what it is. They have to kind of deal with this. But yeah, I think that's what it is. And like Embracer does not have a lot of money to make that kind of game, so they want somebody to partner with them, and that's why they're doing that. So that's fair. That's fine. Amazon also wants to get into gaming in a serious way, but they're taking the slower tact, unlike Google, who said we're going to go in and have people pay $70 for games that they can't actually own because they have to front them on Stadia. So and Amazon's taking the opposite path and saying, hey, we'll make some games. We'll put them on PC. We'll put them on other platforms. We'll also allow them on our Luna platform. If somebody wants to go that route, they'll have it, right? And that's a cool way to go, right? You get the option, just like with Game Pass, you have the option. You want to do the cloud, you can. You don't have to. You can buy the game, play it on your platform. We're okay with that. That's a good way, good tact for them to take. So they're trying to put out more of these games. They partner with Bandai on Blue Protocol. I think it was Blue Protocol. And that's also multi-plat, right? So fair enough, right? If this is the way they want to start their thing, that's okay. But yeah, I am disappointed that partnership can't happen. And I'm guessing it's just the same thing. They're like they're stuck, with this deal until it's done, right? It's such a big deal, like as far as like the money involved and what it means to Microsoft, that you can't take it lightly. You can't just go willy-nilly do something and cause it to be jeopardized in any way. So it is what it is. It sucks, but that's it, right? This is the biggest deal they're going to have in gaming, right? Because there's nothing else bigger, right? But unfortunately, it needs to get done.
Yeah, the quicker this gets done,
right?
the quicker they can get back to making some of these
like once
deals.
that EU, the EC, and the CMA ones are done, the FTC one I'm not as worried about because that'll go to a federal court and get tossed. But as far as the other two, if they're done, I think their hands finally open up and they can finally start doing the things they want to. But yeah, I think they're just hamstrung by this. It's very annoying, but it is where we are. Right?
Yeah, no, it's true. This is what happens when you do try to buy the biggest publisher in the world for one of the biggest games in 2022 and many, many years before it. It is the number one selling game each and every year. And well, that's what happened. There's no doubt about it. Crispy Bomb, let's get your opinion on this. Is what Hargeet's saying, like we're all frustrated, right? We're all frustrated because Microsoft is hamstrung. That's the truth. It is what it is. They can't make a move. If they make any kind of like Hargeet and everyone was saying, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and someone reports that, they're in big trouble, and then this whole deal falls to pieces. So we're no Tomb Raider exclusive. No Crystal Dynamics potentially coming as a first party studio, which is a shame. What are your thoughts on this, man? Is it a miss for Team Xbox?
I don't know that they're working too closely on Perfect Dark. I got this inkling that, I mean, like, if this falls through, I feel like Microsoft's gonna be like, oh, we'll just buy Embracer.
I mean,
And
Embracer's,
it will
yeah.
offer, maybe 3 times market value.
I
mean,
don't think they would do 3 times market value, but
they might offer it, and they could, interject, and if they don't have it, because you have to look at, a 3-year market, and Embracer is at a certain point where it's either going to go up or down, and all of these little things that come from the media and such, I mean, if you really look at it, it seems logical, like, prop up the fact that Crystal D is doing another thing and somebody else is publishing it.
Well, it came out today that Crystal Dynamics has already started work on their next Marvel IP, which it's unannounced what that is.
Well, it is a big studio.
Yeah,
very big. I think it's over 500, I believe. They sold to Embracer. Embracer is going to do what they want to do, and they're a multi-plat gaming company. I mean, if you really look at what they brought out, it is primarily multi-plat.
Yep.
So why not, say, you know what, Microsoft, you could be on the back end of this in some way, and publishing with Amazon after they took in the Fallout series. There could be what we call back end talks, right?
Yeah.
Like we all say Sony and Disney have. Remember, we always say that maybe there's some back end talks to say, hey, we get Wolverine. You know what I mean? Because they bought the IP from Fox, and that's why you see Fox the way it is, because technically they can't do that because they own ABC, they own ESPN. Like these are all things that they just bought the IP of the entire X-Men. Okay, that's what they bought for that much money. Think about that. That's really what they bought. So for Microsoft to buy somebody or sit there pat like they have been, I mean, ABK, no joke, but I don't look at Call of Duty like that. I look at what my girlfriend plays and countless other people play. I look at Candy Crush. I mean, they continue to somehow enamor people with Candy Crush. And then you go and say, they ain't worried about Call of Duty. And that's where I say, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. But I want to see you go back to your roots real quick. Look at a gaming company like you used to, like Obsidian, for example, and look at them and say, they do great things no matter what they touch. You know what I mean? It's one of those weird things where I say, give creativity a chance, but not only that, give the funding to make that creativity a reality. And I think that is something that I see from Xbox, and that's why, I adore it in a way that I don't see from Sony. I don't.
No. I mean, that's a fantastic point. That's the thing about Microsoft. They do fun projects and let the developers do what they do. Mag, I know you're on limited time, brother. So let's get your opinion on this. You obviously,
Yes, sir.
Amazon is going to take this this Tomb Raider deal and run with it. What do I mean by that? Because after they publish the game, they're going to make a film or a series.
Oh, they'll make a series.
There's no
100%.
no doubt about it, and that's probably why they jumped in on this for like a big package deal. Did Xbox miss out on this, man? Do you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, well, the thing is, as you know, discussed before, Microsoft doesn't have that multimedia division where they could, like, okay, well, we can we'll fund the game and then we'll put it as a series on our streaming network or whatever. They don't have that, but Amazon does, and Amazon has the money to do it. They almost have Microsoft money, if not damn well close, right? So here's the thing. I think it's a miss for Xbox for a couple of reasons. One, they had the opportunity back in the Xbox One when they got the what the hell was it? Shadow of the Tomb? Was it Shadow? No, not Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Not Shadow. Shadow was the third one. This is Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, right. Then when they had the 1 year deal with Rise of the Tomb Raider and everything else, they had the opportunity then, because clearly they were already flirting with each other before they started dating, right? So, I mean, they had the opportunity there. They had the opportunity again. Now, the other thing is, though, I don't think Microsoft had a chance at this, and I'll tell you why. Just like you had mentioned, Boom, I think the only reason why the Crystal Dynamics was able to partner with them is because they probably also got a hefty chunk of change.
Yep.
Or Embracer, I guess, got a hefty chunk of change because Amazon said, listen, we'll help fund the game. We'll that'll get us, get our foot in the door. But at the same time, that's also going to give us the show. We want, we're going to, we want to do a 10 episode, 10-hour Tomb Raider show. Right. And that's exactly what they're going to do. 100% they're going to do. And anybody thinks I'm wrong? Absolutely not. I mean, they're doing what? They're doing Fallout.
That's definitely a part of this deal. There's no doubt about it.
Did they not? Exactly. And I think that's the only reason why that they were invited to the table. I don't think Microsoft could have matched what they were doing, because I think that, like I said, Amazon did gave them finances on two fronts: one for the game, one for the show. Okay, so they got a two for there in respect where Microsoft says, well, we can't do a show. We don't have a network or whatever to do that on. And so therefore they're not going to be a part of the conversation. And that's where Amazon can get in on these things. They can get they can get one hand in the gaming division, one hand in their streaming division, right? Look what they just announced this week. They're already in bed with They're doing Fallout, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yes. And they're also doing, what did they announce this week, guys? God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they announced God of War. They're in bed with Sony as well. Was there also not a rumor, if I'm not mistaken? Was there a rumor of Days Gone being a show as well? Okay, I don't know if that was Amazon, but if it is, it is. It's not. But the thing is, we know for sure that Fallout and God of War are a thing. Tomb Raider is going to get announced very shortly after they start revealing or talking about the game. Once the hype starts kicking in, right? Because they're not making any more movies. They had that sort of reboot Tomb Raider, didn't do very well. They were planning on doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one.
It was a good one too, actually.
It actually was. It wasn't bad. It was a little slow, but it wasn't bad. It was a well-made film. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it didn't light the world on fire. So guess what? They didn't greenlight a sequel. They wrote a sequel. They've got it. I know somebody who actually has the script. He actually lives here in Canada. Actually, he's on YouTube. His name is Script Doctor. So that's what he does. But he's got the script for the second one. But anyways, that's besides the point. The point is that the show's up for grabs. Okay, and Amazon was right there to do it. I mean, they're making big moves. You got the Rings of Power. I'm not talking about whether you like it or not, or the politics around it.
We loved it. Sorry.
Rings of Power. It is what it is. Okay, they spent a lot of money there. They're spending money on Fallout. They're spending a ton of money on God of War. And now you're getting into the Tomb Raider business. They're making a move, guys, and this is something that they got to be careful. That these other companies got to watch out for, because they got the money and the clout to turn out your lights. Okay, this is not like some fly by night. Okay, these are big players and making big moves, and they can make big moves very quickly, and they could do it under the radar if need be. And that's the other thing. I almost feel like the way that the Amazon is approaching this is a very Tencent way of approaching it. Whereas they're doing a bit here, a bit there, a jab here, a jab there. The next thing you know, you're exhausted and you're getting knocked out in the ring in the fourth round, right? Jab, 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 jab. Instead of the big, Microsoft's throwing these big ABK haymakers and everybody's paying attention, right? Nobody's paying attention to like these little ones, like the little ones. I hate to say the little ones, but these companies like Tencent, and then of course what Amazon's doing right now. Guys, start putting start connecting the dots here of what Amazon's doing, of everything I just told you in the last 3 minutes. They're making moves. So that's where Xbox has got to like sit up in their seat and go, yo, what's going on over there? Right? They got to take a look at these things. Now, the other thing, just on a personal note, I'm pissed off at the whole situation because they had guaranteed at one point, not now, but at one point, they had the opportunity to get this IP. Okay, they had the opportunity to fund the IP and make it move forward because Crystal Dynamics was not getting the same funding they were from Square because Square is a bunch of scumbags. Yep. All right, I hate those guys. I hate them, and I hate their games. And Forspoken sucks. Anyways, that's my rant for the day. It sucks, man. Okay, three minutes, and I almost threw my controller if it didn't cost so much,
dude. Now, I want to ask you this because I'm trying to add Forspoken. Okay, if it was somewhat multiplayer in some way,
no, it would be even worse.
It'd be worse.
It'd be even worse. The thought of it's giving me goosebumps. Anyways, here's the thing.
Okay.
Besides that, now I understand what's coming up, guys. I understand. We all know what's coming up for Xbox. We've seen the commercials. We've seen the trailers. We all know what's happening. However, we've talked about it for years that outside of what we consider the holy trinity of Halo, Forza, Gears, Xbox for several number of years has had an identity problem. Okay, we've talked about this several times, and the one thing that I have to say is that Tomb Raider would give him that global clout.
Okay, it would, sir.
It would give him that name. It would give him that recognizable name, just like Sony did with Spider-Man. And what happened? All of a sudden, what was it? Crash Bandicoot and Kratos and a couple of other people were like the face of PlayStation. The minute they got Spider-Man in there, guess what? Spider-Man is the face of PlayStation. For Christ's sake, the PlayStation 3 logo is the same font as Spider-Man 3, the movie. Okay, so we know that we you know what I mean? It's synonymous with it now. And this is what Xbox needs, some of those pop culture references that people can, and understand and know. Nobody's talking about Pentiment in the schoolyard. Okay, I mean, fantastic game, gets a 9 out of 10, but ain't nobody talking about it. But they need buzzwords, pop culture names.
Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, Lara Croft,
Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, look, Call of Duty, God of War. Come on, guys. These Spider-Man, Wolverine. Halo. Who doesn't know these people? Yeah, okay, well, there's Halo. Yeah, they got Halo. But, hold on,
I bet High on Life will be on people's war,
but
yes,
that's okay.
In fairness, I did say outside of the Holy Trinity of
the Holy Trinity, right?
Yeah, of Halo, Forza, Gears, right? I'm saying outside of that, they need those buzzwords. I know somebody in the chat's probably losing their minds right now, ripping their hair out, going, "Mag, shut up!"
No, but real quick,
yes,
Mag.
Yes,
High on Life, being that it is right now only synonymous.
This
with
is
Xbox.
the birth. This is Asante. This could be the birth of a new buzzword.
Hey, now
we might be witnessing the birth of a new.
This is the new
franchise.
Gears 5. Kids shouldn't be playing it, but they will be.
Lord.
This could be, guys. I'm telling you right now, we could be sitting here on the precipice of Xbox history right now. This game that we're staring at right now, this dude with the 3 eyes. Okay, we're looking at this game. Oh, by the way, look at the little gun. His eyeballs are moving.
Oh, and by the way, Boom. Next time you record this, always put subtitles on. This game needs subtitles.
Well, you might get
demonetized. That's true. That's true.
But
oh wow.
Here's the thing.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
We might be on the precipice of Xbox history. This could be the beginning of the next great franchise. You never know, right? And these are and then High on Life in 5 years might be the buzzword that I'm talking about right now. But anyways, in the interim, Tomb Raider would have been one of those big buzzwords. 100%. When you associate it with Xbox, it would have been fantastic. But anyways, I will pass off the mic. I will say goodnight to everybody. By the way, I got one last thing I was going to say. This is off topic entirely, but I got a message halfway through the show from my brother, the musician. He's a professional musician, and he's a doctorate at the University of Toronto for music. He just got a call from Microids. The developers in France who just made the House of the Dead remake. They want him to do the soundtrack for their new game.
Oh, well, that's freaking awesome, dude.
Isn't that great? So he just sent me a message. He goes, "Have you heard of these guys?" I'm like, yeah. So I rhymed off a few games because they do mostly like smaller games, indie games, but they ended up doing that House of the Dead remake for PlayStation and Steam.
Which is great.
Yeah. So they did that. So apparently the new project, they want him to be working on the sound to compose the soundtrack awesome, for. Dude. So that's a big get. If I hear more information, I'll let you guys know. But anyways, I will pass off the mic and I'll bid you guys all
Mag,
a good evening.
Before you go, Mag.
Yes.
If Tomb Raider is as big as they're promising it to be,
yes,
that is how you enter the market. If you're entering the gaming 100%. Market, it has to be with a must-have like IP that everyone has to play. And if they can turn Tomb Raider into that overnight, people begin to take Amazon seriously. And
right, but you see exactly, yes, but you see how this actually benefits their streaming service because the minute that game hits hard and it's
People are
hot.
going to want to watch it on
People
TV.
are going to watch those show,
Yeah,
so they're going to gain customers. Like no matter, you know what I'm saying. So it's all
But-
a
And you can
symbiotic
play it in
circle
the-
there.
that makes the case for why Microsoft should get into the streaming video.
Hey, so that I just acquired the mag boots.
The mag boots.
The mag boots. I should sue.
Meta.
You absolutely should sue. Yes, I absolutely agree. No doubt about
Anyways.
that. All right, Mag. Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Asante, let's get your opinion. Then we'll get everyone's opinion. Then we'll get everyone out of here. Is this a miss for Microsoft? Was this out of their control ultimately, like Hargeet was suggesting? Because I think Hargeet is on to something.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of context in the background that we are not privy to,
Right.
and there's a lot of we always say that Microsoft may have all the money in the world as you think, but Amy Hood's not easily opening that wallet, right? If you're asking to crack open that wallet for a reason, there needs to be multiple departments within Microsoft that could benefit from such an acquisition. And clearly, in this specific instance, they didn't have enough justification. And of course, the context of ABK and all that. Hargeet, absolutely right. ABK locks their hands in all things at this point. And we see that every day, and it's unfortunate. So us gamers, we're just kind of like, whatever. This sucks, right? And I completely agree. Myself and Everborn, we've been having that chat of while this stuff is delayed, does that mean they are still in the limbo posture until it's done? All that is fair game. Now, I agree with you that it is a missed opportunity for Microsoft, but I say that this is actually a nice, a good thing to have happened because, as Hargeet has said, if this was PlayStation, it was exclusive, and that's just it, 100%. Secondly, much like how Microsoft likes to purport to make themselves small in the gaming space, Amazon is small and hungry, right?
Yep.
They've made mistakes. Multiple mistakes. They used to roast video cards with their first game. It came out, Lost World was amazing, and then video cards started exploding, and they went, oh my god, and it was a whole thing. They've been really trying to hit their stride in this environment and actually make something of themselves. And this might play definitely into that. Like as we've discussed, there's Lost World, there's New World, Lost Ark, and New World, both PC games. And Blue Protocol will be their first multi-plat console game ever, right? And then presumably so will Tomb Raider after that. For those who say that, this is a missed opportunity for Microsoft, yes, but this just keeps the flame of Tomb Raider alive for some more years, right? Doesn't mean they own the Tomb Raider IP. Doesn't mean any of that. Yeah, there's a world where they can then start offering Lars some big bank to lock it up. We know that world exists, true. But there's also another world where they make this game, it comes out, it does pretty well, and then Lars and them continue to hold on to the IP and have another studio make it. They find it valuable to hold on to their IP and maybe keep partnering with different publishing outfits in order to make newer games out of it. It doesn't automatically preclude Microsoft from ever being able to get their hands on it, right? As it stands right now, it's in the public domain, as it were, right? It's multi-platform all to have. So the next IP, the next iteration of the game will be everywhere, right? It will be. So after that, depending on how good they do this time around, that might determine where we go, right? But that's a story for another day. And hopefully by that time, when the game has come out and all the bugs have been worked, remember, the Blue Protocol being their first one, this will be their second ever console game. And you know what happens when these games release? Even High on Life released kind of crappy in the performance department until the first patch, and then everything was
that first patch came out like the
sure
next day, right?
No. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that in the gaming console platform space, Amazon isn't the 10-foot gorilla, not yet. They're the hungry little scrappy company trying to get a foothold, right?
Okay, let me
so
ask
by
you
the
a
time
question.
they do make,
Crystal,
assuming that the Tomb
They know
Raider
what they're
is
doing.
I'm sorry.
But it's Crystal, right? They know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's Crystal. They know exactly what they're doing. But my point is, by the time they solidify themselves and they get down the road where, hey, that was a pretty good game, we could be talking a different ball game where Microsoft can compete, and it might be an idea of, hey, we want that, right?
So-
and that can happen.
Well,
right?
so here's the
Go
thing.
ahead.
right? Something to consider. I think the industry is collectively holding their breath on acquisitions until
ABK.
Activision is
ABK is
done,
all said and
right?
done. Yep.
Because if it goes through, I think that puts the battery in everybody's back. Sony
And if it
will have
doesn't,
to,
it
right.
puts the kibosh in everyone's situation.
Well,
Absolutely.
not necessarily. It just
Well,
means that
then
you
then,
can't buy
then you'll
anything
see
that big.
slower, smaller moves.
Now,
Yes.
Yep.
but that being said, the reason why I cut in here is I
Mhm.
wanted to say to you, what if Amazon wants to buy Embracer?
Yeah.
That's
Now,
a
Amazon buying
possibility.
Embracer would not be a crazy, like, out of left field move.
Or
I was
EA.
actually checking
Or
Embracer's
EA for that matter. Yeah,
or
that's a
EA for
great
that matter.
point,
Yeah.
Augie.
I was
Yeah.
checking Embracer's market cap when Christy
Not
said
that high. Like what, 10,
They,
12, something
they
like that?
started at like 11 billion, $14 billion. Now they're at $5.
Oh, wow.
On a good day, 6. Yeah. They are at
Wow.
6
They've
now.
fallen.
When Crispy said, "Oh, well, they could pay them market value times 3," we were quick to go, "Nah, that wouldn't happen." That's $18 billion, son. That's pocket change from Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? So they could pay 3 times the price, and it's still nothing compared to what they've been doing up till now. We shall see how this
But I
goes.
just think for Amazon,
Mhm.
it kind of makes more sense
Oh yeah,
in terms
absolutely.
of it
Absolutely. You
would
are
give
100% right. Yeah,
it'll give them
absolutely.
a stable
Yep.
of developers, a
Out of
publishing
nowhere,
arm.
they become the AA champs because
Right.
that's what Embracer is. Absolutely.
But
Now,
you add Crystal and IDOS to that.
true, and that could be the crown jewel. Absolutely. Now,
And Gearbox,
what I will
that's them
say,
as well, right?
yes,
Yeah, they have
yes,
Gearbox as well.
they have
correct.
Gearbox as well.
Yep.
Yes, although Gearbox has kind of become a Borderlands machine, and they haven't been able to reinvent themselves out of it yet. But they are a good developer, so we'll see where they go.
Yeah.
What I will say though is those who count Amazon out, there are a lot of subscription services out there. Quietly, Luna's the closest competitor to Game Pass, and I've really been testing it out. It is actually darn good.
Mhm.
They're just not telling you that. You got to go find out for yourself. So it makes me wonder, what is Amazon doing, holding their big gun, literally just standing there watching the
Well,
market?
I'll tell you what they're doing, right? I think there's a reason that we have not heard that Amazon
Mhm.
has complained to any regulators. You know why?
Sure, because they're waiting to see.
They
They
have
want to
their
buy
own
something
design.
too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're waiting for Microsoft to pave the ground so they can walk.
I
in.
wouldn't be
Absolutely.
surprised they announce an EA. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
they have the money. EA wanted to be bought. We heard
Yes,
the
they
rumors,
did.
right? They wanted to be bought.
Yep, absolutely,
So-
absolutely. But
It's
no,
not, it's
on
not
the
like a gentleman's, hey, we're a
Sure.
big company too, we respect you. No, you're a competitor to us,
yeah.
but we're gonna shut up because it'll hurt our case later.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
Exactly.
But on the point of the Tomb Raider thing, I think this is the best of a bad situation for Microsoft. That's what I think. When it comes to this, it's none of the other teams, none of the other. I mean, Tencent and all that could also been a thing, but so far, Amazon isn't confident in this space, so they're not being their Amazon self. They're just trying to get a foothold, So now Microsoft, if you let them continue to grow and solidify beyond this situation, and in 2026 2027 you're still letting them do that, then that's mud. That'll be eventually mud in your eye, right? But right now they can keep their eye, they can take their eye off of Embracer with Amazon. It'll come out, it'll be on your platform. Maybe you'll fight for a what do you call it, a marketing deal when the time comes. Maybe Sony wins it. I hope they don't. But hey, who knows? Because that will be that, right? Amazon, the platforms will be fighting for marketing deals. One of them will get it. Might be Microsoft. Who knows, right? So it's not the gloom and doom we think it is, but it is an interesting turn of events that could turn into something very interesting in the gaming space.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. Close us out, Everborn Saga. I mean, you obviously, you and I were banking that Crystal D and Eidos were going to be first party. Like we really thought they were.
I still haven't forgiven Microsoft for losing this. Like, I get it, right? Like, the lawyers are making the decisions now for Microsoft in terms of their moves in gaming, and you can like it, you can not like it, you can say there's no excuse for it, you can say it's an L, but that's what's happening, right? So, and that's what's going to continue to happen until this deal either shits or gets off the pot, right? But that being said, that is why I believe we missed out on Square's Western Studios, right? Crystal Dynamic and IDOS are literally working for Microsoft right now on
Yep.
Fable and Perfect Dark,
Yep.
right? They have this super close relationship. They were only $300 million. They literally fill the largest gap in Microsoft's portfolio,
Yep.
which is that narrative driven third person type of game. And they didn't get him, right? And so now, right, Embracer, who is kind of, not struggling for cash, but just spent a lot of money on acquisitions, now they need to see a return on that investment. Microsoft is paying for development to keep the everybody working right on Fable and Perfect Dark on their own games, their own IPs, and Microsoft is more interested in funding IPs that they own. So they are. It's basically a similar deal to what Amazon is doing, except in this case, Microsoft owns their IPs that they have them working on, but Embracer owns the IPs that Amazon is helping fund and publish and all that, which is weird because isn't Embracer a publisher or are they just a holding group?
No, they're a
Do have some
publisher.
publishing.
They're a
Right.
publisher
Yeah.
So they're a publisher, but they're not publishing this IP.
It's
they own.
money.
because they recognize
money,
that they're
yeah, 100%
writing
agree
checks
with
that their
Buggy.
butts
Right.
can't
They're
cash.
they're basically offloading the risk to Amazon, right?
Yes.
If it's a hit, great, they take a cut. If it's a flop, Amazon's the one who spent the money,
Yep.
right? That's effectively what's happening. So again, I see this and it's just another painful reminder that this Activision deal is still not done and probably not going to be done for another 6 months to a year or more, depending on how things go. Hopefully not. I don't even want to put that bad juju into existence. But the point is, um, we're just going to see more of this, more missed opportunities, more times when they could show up, more times when they're pulling their punches on their shows, more times where they're not going after deals that they could get, and all the while, everyone around them is just moving forward. So the effect of if this deal gets blocked, how much would have been lost and wasted is astronomical. So I see
agree.
stuff like this. I don't care if it's multi-plat, but it's like the relationship is there. You could damn near call it organic growth if they were to move in the direction of Crystal Dynamics, right? But we can't, and it just makes me think, what else are we going to miss? What else are we going to be pissed off about,
Yep.
right? That
Yeah.
we knew they could have had. What deal did they not do? What game did they not announce because this goddamn deal? So the more I think about this deal, the more it pisses me off. And it's bigger than Tomb Raider. It's
Yep.
bigger than whether they buy everybody or not. It's bigger than the fact that they probably would have bought Sega by now, which is probably really why I'm upset.
Microsoft needs to go after IP.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
really need to.
but they're not, right? Unless they can own it, and it has to be people who are willing to sell
that's
IP.
that's where we sit here and we say, Microsoft, go after IP. I mean, who else should have the Mortal Kombat IP?
That should
Who
be
else?
Microsoft. Sorry.
That okay. I mean, logically, a couple $1 billion, AT&T will be like, yeah, hand it to us. I mean, logically,
It
if
would
you
be
really
you'd be
look
surprised.
at
They'd be
it,
able to pick up the IP and the studio for a couple of like half
I mean,
$1
at this
billion.
point, I would just say buy the whole bloody thing. How much?
buy
would it possibly
yeah,
cost?
buy all
Like
WB.
35,
WB's
something
like
like
a
that.
shit show anyway. Yeah, I
Right?
that's
agree.
the beauty of their contract. Their contract continues to have precedent, and their contract is that they own the IP of Mortal
wherever they
Kombat.
go, Mortal Kombat goes with them.
Well,
Yes.
I can speak to that very directly. I won't now, but you are correct.
Oh yeah, yes.
You buy NetherRealm, you get that
You
IP.
get the IP. Yeah.
That's in the contract that Ed Boon
But-
signed with them. Wherever he goes, so does the
Right.
IP.
That being said, though, you know, I don't know that Microsoft wants a Warner Brothers, even if when all this is said and done, because they're not in that content creation movie business, and they're going to need a competent company that can run themselves. And as we can see, WB can't run themselves.
Even with James
But
Gunn, even with
Netflix
James Gunn and the
Well, I
new,
mean, those
so,
are
you know,
they're not the ones running it, right? It's a person who runs Discovery. I can't remember his name. Is
Right?
running it, but
Do
they're
you
Jazz
believe they're
Lodge?
saddled
doing a
with
good
a lot
job?
of debt. They're
yeah,
saddled with a lot of debt.
yes, a lot.
That
of
is the
debt.
problem. Like, how do
Yeah.
they make money? That's the problem.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. They would, for them to jump into a new business, it would have to already be like self-sustaining and they know what they're doing. And I just don't know that. I think WB becomes too risky for them because it's not really a business they know. They're going to want someone who's strong on the fundamentals, right? Like, I'm not saying that they could ever buy Netflix or a Disney, but it would be something like that they'd
I
want
mean,
because
Disney's in trouble
those things
too.
could run
Yeah.
themselves.
I mean, so you can't really say there's
Disney
much.
Plus is not doing well. A lot of
Disney
people
Plus
think
isn't doing well.
Well,
Their
I
content is
don't want
starting
to
to
get into
fail.
that
Their
whole
box office is
conversation. Yes, they
failing.
lost $4 billion, but that was
I'll
always
be honest with you.
that
Right
was always
now,
factored in the
after
money that they
Black
lost.
Adam, HBO Max is doing pretty damn well. I'm just saying. You know
It's
what I
true.
mean?
It's
Like
true. Well, listen,
it's one of those
That's
things.
why it's called HBO Max because they're gonna switch the name
they
again to
wanted to
just
change
Max.
that too.
Yeah,
Anyway,
But
the
listen,
point is, I'm going off course. The point is, Tomb Raider is the canary in the coal mine of things that Microsoft is going to miss because
Yep.
of this Activision deal. And it's going to be more of it and it's going to be worse. So pray for the deal to either close or get blocked because we're going to keep getting pissed off by this stuff that would have been easy
no,
layup.
I agree. Hargeet started it well. You're ending it well. Everyone bookended it perfectly. I mean, look, at the end of the day, folks, Hargeet made a good point. We're just all frustrated with this. We want this deal done. We
And
all do.
even if it gets blocked, then they can move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
not going to get blocked.
Unless they fight
It is
it.
going. Yeah,
And then it
oh
goes
God.
on.
It is, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for your primetime gaming for this week. Remember, folks, there is not going to be a Thursday or Friday show this week. Mrs. Boom and I will be preparing for the holidays, so we're taking a nice 5-day block off. I'm actually super excited because we haven't done that almost an entire year. So we're just kind of going to close out the year. With a couple of shows next week, and then we're going to just take some time to chill. Real quick, Highlander 001 drops not one, but two additional $5 super chat and says, what did I say in the super chat the other day? Where former and current Microsoft employees are become a part of Microsoft. This is not an accident. Yeah.
He's like Everborn Saga. Oh, we have some
the
conspiracy
plan-
theories. It's
the
a good one,
plans
though.
are in. And
It's
he
a good
also
one.
says
Didn't even
ABK have over 10,000 employees. All of Sony developers have only 3,800 employees. Microsoft is when this deal is done, we'll have a ton of manpower. Absolutely unreal. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with these studios. But Hargeet, sell your brand, brother. Talk about Game On Daily. And, Gaz in the last couple of days, wow.
The pony.
Gaz has been making the rounds, and he's been out there, and she's been taking the arrows and then taking them out of himself and shooting them right back.
Yeah.
Talk about Game On Daily, and more importantly, talk about your YouTube channel. And if people wanted to potentially reach out to you, they can do it through Xbox, right?
Yes. Yeah. So my Xbox gamer tag is HChani. So you can check me out there. And GameOnDaily.com and YouTube.com/GameOnDaily. And Gaz is getting hammered because, he goes 100% with things, and
he does,
and he's
honest.
not wrong. A lot of things he's saying, Xbox does deserve a little bit of criticism.
They do,
here.
yes.
And it's fair to say, look, we understand they've had a lot of challenges over the years, but they made some dumb decisions, and that's why the challenges have come up. That's not our fault as consumers, right? That's on them, and that's all he's saying is like, look, you've got the biggest bank in the in the gaming industry. Why aren't you going and getting stuff? Why aren't you doing all these things like getting Tomb Raider? Like, they could make all these deals at any time. They haven't, right? And he's just saying, look, I'm sick of trying to cap for you. I don't care. I want my games, and I want you to go out there and compete. If Sony can get all these money-hatted deals, so can't you. go get them, right? Go make all the deals. They did it before in the 360 gen. Just remember all the stuff we got in like 2007 alone: Mass Effect, BioShock, Gears of War, and on and on and on. And these were all money-headed games. These were exclusives.
If you
money-headed
remember, they got a GTA as a year exclusive.
Yeah, Oblivion was a year exclusive, right?
Yeah.
And you could go on and on. It's like, okay, all these things. Where's the the enthusiasm to go out and compete with Sony? It's been on them, right? And look, it takes time. We get it, but that's not our fault. And he's
Right.
just bringing that back to them, saying, "Hey, look, you're making all these claims that you're in the lower position. Yeah, because you chose to do that, right? And and if you want to compete, you should bloody compete." I agree with them. Some people take that as being a pony. It's not. He's not being a pony.
No.
He's just bringing the heat to the company. He wants to bring the heat, right?
He wants to see Xbox compete and win.
Compete, like do it, right? And I get it. They're spending $80+ billion in buying people. That's great. Buying studios. That's awesome. But we still don't have any bloody games. So that's just the reality of where we are, right? So it's too bad he's getting all that negativity. And he also takes it like everybody who's coming after him. He's like, "Well, you don't like me, screw off," right? And maybe he should be more tactful with that. But that's
one
gas,
thing, and we're
He doesn't
actually
like
talking to
gears.
we're talking to Gaz tomorrow. So I think the thing about it, and this is what I said to Kay Asante, Microsoft knew that they were going to take heat for this year that they put out, and they
Yeah.
figure the light at the end of the tunnel, or the carrot, or
Yeah.
whatever, people will forgive them if they can close the deal. And
It's
they're
gonna be
probably
after-
right. Nobody's
It's going to be right
But-
after the CMA and freaking EU. Watch.
right. So but the thing is, they've calculated to take this heat. So
Yeah.
if they've calculated for it, why can't
we gotta bring
why
it.
can't we give them the heat? Right.
Exactly.
The thing is, though, so I don't begrudge anybody who says, "Listen, you promised me first party games this year, you didn't do it. I backed you. I went to, I believed in your vision or whatever." I get that. And you're upset about it, and that's fine, and I won't jump in anybody's way. But for those that aren't upset about it because they're maybe looking at the bigger picture, and there's a ton of other games to play, I don't think we should call them like shills or whatever, right? So
Yep.
that's a two-way street, right? If I'm
Yeah,
not
he
gonna
goes
get
a little
upset for
far, I
you for
get
being
that.
mad, don't point the finger at me because I'm not mad and I'm here playing games, right?
Everborn, it's called logic, bro. Logic.
And that's the thing, right? Like, it's don't it's the same thing. Don't point your finger at me because I'm not upset and I'm playing Vampire Survivor, and I'm not playing Vampire Survivor, but you know what I'm saying. I'm playing games all year. I got my 140 hours in Elden Ring. I'm playing
Yep.
High on Life and all the other stuff. So go ahead, be mad, and I respect it, and they deserve it. But not everybody has to think like you, just like
Yeah.
you don't have to think like us. If
No,
that
that's
makes
good
sense.
stuff. Absolutely.
Yep.
Crispy, sell your brand, brother. Where are you going to be tomorrow? Is there going to be a show, the next podcast tomorrow? And more importantly, where can we reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. Let's go like end of the year, end of everything for this year, and I hope next year. I'm just saying, tired of things coming out of nowhere, tired of people saying things that they really don't mean, but also say them at the same time. I mean, the holidays are wild for a retail worker. I'm just telling you. Like people just say things that it's like I look at them and I'm like, dude, you have a phone, like a phone that you just shoved in my face, and you can't search what this means. Like, really? Like
Yeah.
you have computers in your pocket. Come on. I didn't have that when I grew up. So, let's be logical, okay? Everybody has their own opinion, for the love of God. All right? And also, if you don't want to hear their opinion, you don't watch it.
Don't watch it. Absolutely.
Holy crap. Like, wow. Like, instead of attacking them and threatening them and stuff like that, like, and that goes for developers, which has been sad this year, stuff like that. We need to be logical. But I will be on the next podcast tomorrow night at Chris Baum on Twitter, Chris Baum 28 Xbox Live. And that's going to be it for the year. Because
Yes.
I'm very tired of the attacks, especially on Gaz. I mean, Gaz is probably one of the funniest people I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And you know what? He says and does things that might rub you the wrong way, but it's kind of like that high on life humor. Like he's kind of telling you how it is, but not telling you how it is. And that's kind of what I've seen from other people playing the damn game. Not me, other people, including people in my household, but not me. And they laugh, and I'm like, well, let me. And the beauty of it is, you can kind of reverse back a little bit. You can kind of pause it, and then they just start talking. That's something that I love about this game. They're just like, well, why are you pausing? And I'm like, well, why am I pausing? What's going on here? So, that type of humor, it's different. But that's where I always say, meta who? What's Metacritic? It is a bunch of, it's like Rotten Tomatoes. Like, you'll see some movies that are just trashed by the critics, and then all of a sudden,
Oh, yeah, he's bought bad. I don't know what happened. Well, you know what? You're cutting out. We cannot hear you, Crispy Bomb. I don't know what's
it's just amazing.
Oh,
okay.
and now he's back.
Yeah, now you're back. Yeah, you cut out for a second, but Crispy, thank you so much for being here, brother. You need a break, obviously, after the next podcast. You go and you enjoy that break, and I agree. Gaz is a good dude. I think everyone attacking him for his views or his harsh views, I don't agree with it. I think he's entitled to it. He's a frustrated Xbox gamer. He's a diehard Xbox gamer, and he's allowed to have that opinion. But Keosante, sell your brand, brother. You are almost at 1K.
I actually am. Yeah. I think we're like, what is it? Like I last I checked, it was like 80 so subscribers away or something like that. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. If not this year, early next. But I appreciate those who come and check us out. Speaking of Mr. Sauce Master, he will be our guest. Actually, we're going to be recording an episode of the Gaming Circle podcast that we will put in our feed. We're having some evergreen conversations, and I thought, since he is Mr. Firebrand at this point, I wanted to have him on. Most folks don't understand what he brings. I said this to him and to folks in the chat that was giving him a lot of smoke. They don't get his brand. He is satirical drama. He always pushes the envelope, but then there's that core level of truth he puts into it as well. He will go overboard. It's what he does. It's what he's supposed to do. And if you're in your feels, you'll get in your feels about it because that will trigger you. But you have to cut through the red tape and get to what he's actually saying. And by and large, you'll agree with him. So we're going to have more conversations with him tomorrow, and expect that in our feed. But no, I appreciate everybody for being here. Asante, TKO Asante, Xbox, PlayStation, all the places you can find me. Usually the co-host of the Gaming Circle podcast. And I'm hoping maybe another specialty slip-in episode of On the Reel, because it seems like the Hollywood news is hot and heavy, and we're really dying to talk about it.
It's getting deep.
I did a double feature of Black Panther 2 and Avatar 2 in one day, and as much as I love Black Panther 2, I can't stop thinking of Avatar 2. So we need to talk about it, and hopefully, Mr. Everborn Saga, we can oblige and put something in the works. But if we don't speak to the fine people in the chat, see you guys. Hope everybody stays safe and stays good, and I hope your holidays are wonderful, and you get to spend some quality time with your fam. You'll see us again soon. We're out here in the Twitter streets. We're out here in the gaming community.
We'll get you on one of our shows next week.
Exactly. So you're going to see us, but we will see you guys when we see you guys, and I hope you guys have a great holiday. And that's all.
Nice. Everborn Saga, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where they can check out the Everborn Saga, what you got going on, and where can people reach out to you on social media.
Well, the answer to all those questions, Boom, is Everborn Saga. But most importantly, go to everbornsaga.com. We are getting ready to launch a sale where you can get the entire Everborn collection of books for just $49.99. This is not an infomercial. I'm actually serious. We're putting all the books together in a bundle so everybody can get caught up, because we're working on like 3 books that we're going to release for next year. So that sale will be coming out soon. And also, my parting words here to everyone, and this is related to the whole gas thing and everything else. If agreement is a prerequisite of your friendship, then you are not friends. We don't want echo chambers here. We want to hear different ideas, and we want to respect people's different opinions. Not everybody has to like what you like and view the world in the way you view things. So that's all I'll say. And if I don't speak to you guys before the New Year's, Happy New Year, Happy Holiday, all that stuff.
Nice. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Hit your like button on the way out. Subscribe to everyone and follow them on Twitter. And of course, I'm going to say a big thank you to all the super chats, especially Hargeet, man. That's a lot of money, brother. Thank you so much for the absolute crazy generosity. Plus, you dropped 5 codes in there. Holy matrimony. If you were a winner, give this man a shout out. Let him know you said you got one of those codes. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Happy holidays, regardless of what you celebrate. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. And we will see you next week on the 3 shows that we're doing for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Have a great night, everyone, and Merry Christmas.